Hello and welcome for part two of an FC 13 double header for the Canadian Championship semi-final. Yeah, not one, but two YouTube live streams today because we appreciate you that much, and we're just the hardest working people in Canadian soccer, aren't we?
We
Especially
really are.
this man up here, Mr. Thomas Hewitt. This is a second live stream here. Somebody donate this man a Gatorade and a Red Bull and a Monster can right now. He's been carrying us up to this point. How you doing, Thomas?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah,
Good to hear. It was appreciated.
I went to the Simon School of complimenting and hyping people up there.
So how are we feeling about this game? How are we feeling about Whitecaps and Pacific lineups?
Looking pretty strong. I'm looking at the Whitecaps won the now. They've a really good upturn in the MLS. Well, and playing away from home has been a problem for a while now, so it'll be interesting. I like White up front. Cuba's Tybert Gresso can be pretty good in midfield. I'm really happy to see Ahmed and Raposo in there. There've been some young, promising-looking Canadian players in there. But my man's on the bench. My man is on the bench. What happened there?
It's not good for Paul. Emotionally, this is a real loss for him.
Oh, my wee heart. I'm assuming he's going to come on in the second half and be an impact sub. I know he's had a couple of niggling injuries as of late. So I'm assuming it's just a precaution. It's just a precaution thing. If he's needed, he's going to play.
Yeah. Well, especially if they're down a goal and they need that creativity, that spark.
Exactly. And saying that as well, I want to see him because if we don't see him, that probably means Vancouver's won the game 4-0 or something.
Yeah. And we don't want that.
Yeah,
nobody
is going to watch the Fred to watch that. What do you think about the Pacific lineup? It's looking pretty strong, I think.
It's very strong. I think the one thing of it, Ongaro hasn't been totally on his game this year, but having him on the bench is interesting. Kakura Mane, who hasn't been playing too frequently, but when he's on, he's pretty good, and he was a Whitecap, so I think maybe.
What I want to say about Ongaro is, for those of you who don't know, which is probably all of you, I was on a trip out west. I explained to Seattle shirt here. I figured I'd go for a middleman here, between Victoria and Vancouver. This was a compromise attire I decided to go for, but I managed to go to the Pacific versus York game in the CPL, and Ongaro hasn't had the numbers in terms of goals, but being able to see his hold-up ability up front, up close and personal, is very impressive. He's very difficult to get the ball up. He's like a magnet to that thing. And I think having someone like that in a game like this, where maybe Pacific won't have that much of the ball, they'll want to capitalize when they can get up top. So having someone who can uphold the ball with the likes of Herd and Aparicio is important. So I'm surprised he's not starting.
Yeah, he hasn't really gotten a lot of starts lately. I find he's been a sub. I think it's just like you said, he hasn't been getting the goals, and when you're the type of striker he is, you expect results and you expect
and his history in the CPL too. He'd be that. However, I mean, the way Forge was getting, I'm not saying Pacific will play the same as Forge, but Forge was getting a lot down the wings, right? But there was no man in the middle against Montreal. There's no one to get those balls in the back of the net. Ongaro is exactly who you want for that, 6'6", and his vertical is insane too. He's going to put the ball in the net.
We got a little narrative there as well. He was with the Whitecaps last year, played a bunch for Whitecaps too, made a sub appearance, I think, once for the MLS team. But he probably looking at it as he didn't get a fair crack at the whip. He didn't go to Whitecaps to sit just on the bench, just as in the bench of the development team, So he'd be looking to show them, look, this is what you're missing.
I think Ongaro just maybe being away from the league, it's going to adapt a bit, right? And he did well in where was it, Armenia he played. He did well there, but clearly there's some struggle. Vancouver Whitecaps as well in the MLS Next Pro last year. He did well. I think it just shows when you spend the time away from the league, you have to adapt again because it's a different league. We saw with Tristan Borges when he left and came back, he wasn't the same. It's because the league wasn't the same either.
I think so far in the league and the CPL as well, I've noticed that Di Rosario hasn't got up and running. Pasillas,
do I ever know that?
Hasn't gone exactly to up and running. Ongaro hasn't gone up and running. the guys that we thought were going to be the front runners for Golden Boot haven't really gotten going yet.
Except like Karen Campbell, who was Kevin's pick. I'll give him that.
Game planning for them a bit better. Like there's something to do that may have something to do with it.
I think you mean Hamilton Thomas.
Sorry, Jordan Hamilton. Yeah.
I said Campbell. I said my third pick, and it doesn't matter because my other two aren't doing anything either. So
is this me just trying to cover myself up? Because I think those are the three people I mentioned for Golden Boot. I think I've got about 4 goals between them.
In terms of the actual match, it's been a bit back and forth so far, just exchanging possession. Nothing really.
I was saying the first few minutes, I think Pacific have been a bit better of the ball. They've just like not been good at that final ball, like that pass there, for example. They had a good chance to get the ball up wide and just put it out there instead.
I know Thomas. I know Thomas. You felt good about Pacific coming into this game.
Yes,
and especially when Forge lost. I mean, like because if Forge won, I don't think I come into this one thinking Pacific wins because you have to play with your odds, right? Odds are both aren't going to win. But with seeing Forge lose, I already felt good about Pacific coming into this one. I'm not saying they're going to win this, but I'm feeling good.
Yeah, I think it's probably. I mean, obviously, we'll have to sort of let the team settle in to get a real good gauge of it. But I think, I don't know if I was very clear on this, but I sort of did feel more confident about this about Pacific beating Vancouver than Forge beating Montreal.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Oh, put some pressure on him there. Vancouver dealt with that okay there. I can see this going one of two ways. Like the X factor in this tie is the fact that it's a derby, right? And Pacific, they've shown, I mean, in the one game beforehand, if it finished 4-3, but really could have been 4-1 or could have been much higher. Like Vancouver just got 2 late goals to make the score look a bit nicer. So like for Pacific, it's perfect for them. It gets them up for it. It gives them that little bit of motivation with it being a derby. Just saying that there, like Vancouver put the ball out of play from an easy possession within their own box. But I think there's also the danger as well of Vancouver looking at this going like, we need to show that was a fluke. Like we need to show that we're the big boys here. So I feel that can work one of two ways. I'd actually be more confident in Pacific if they're playing Montreal than they are Vancouver. Like I got a feeling it would sort of be like out for blood to like make up for what happened in that game in 2021.
Well, I don't know if there's that same animosity because different coach, right? After that game in 2021, Mark DeSantos was fired like immediately.
There is, but like you just got to think of like the fans wouldn't want that. There's players there that would have been 2021 who wouldn't want that.
That's true.
And like the fact is, like it's a stage.
Oh my God.
Is this the part where we realize we're all got different times on our streams?
Yes, it is. It's why I found
off the bar.
It's why I found
we are
a lot of fun sort of doing it solo because I could just sort of
I agree.
Commentate on it. And
I agree, Thomas.
Not have to worry about ruining it.
Also, Paul, your reaction came when the first ball went in and it was kind of just chipped away. I'm like, oh, okay. So, yeah, that was pretty close. And then I got the crossbar there. So, I got you.
Michael, you're always the last. I like on the Canada streams, you were always the last to get the memo.
And I honestly don't know what it is. I don't know why my stream does it.
Are you watching on Fubo or One Soccer?
It's Fubo, yeah. I think that's the biggest. I just realized I was a little bit behind as well. I just moved my time up. I'm at 6:14 now, 6:15. So I might be a little bit better.
I feel that chance there is kind of like that kind of sums up Brian White so far this season. Like he's very good as a striker. He's just not very good as a goal scorer so far this year. Like he's not had a lot of luck. Simon Becker, who's been getting quite a bit of game time for Vancouver this year, like he probably
pretty good.
He's been on fire whenever he's got.
Yeah, he's had some good games. He
scored against York, and it was pretty lucky given like how he got the ball, but it was a good goal from afar.
What's Vanny wearing now? His home is Vancouver t-shirt. He always just dresses like a man who's visited Vancouver for the first time and is really enthusiastic to gift shop.
Yeah, I'm really hoping just for a good game in this one. I mean, we got a good Pacific crowd, and that's important. Got good. I don't know how many Vancouver fans are there. I'm sure there's a couple Whitecaps fans, but we have a good stadium. We're just like when the CPL team hosts. When we had Montreal host today, it wasn't that filled. It looked empty. Yeah. You know, that's in Hamilton. You probably gain a little bit better numbers.
Oh, 100%. I mean, like at York. It's just like don't make fun of this. Please don't make fun of this.
Too late.
But we got like so many more. Like there were lines and stuff. We had 2,200 people for the Whitecaps game. Okay, that's an achievement in my books.
We had lineups. I had to wait 2 minutes to take a piss.
I think it's a good thing. The more people you can get, no matter what the context.
Like no matter what the circumstances, it doesn't matter how many people actually were there. If you get attendance bumps, it's always good.
No, of course. I
mean, I always feel bad when it comes to I always feel bad when it comes to attendance narratives because like it might not be intended, but like it always seems to come across like you're making fun of the fans that are there and not the ones that aren't there.
Yeah.
So like if there's a crowd of like say, like a 1,200 or something, it always comes across like you're laughing at there's only 1,200 of them there, as opposed to like putting
it. Appreciate the 1,200 people.
I mean, just look at the finals last year with Ottawa and Forge. The 15,000 that showed up for Ottawa in the finals. Obviously, they weren't playing those 15,000 every fucking week, but that 15,000 boosted their overall season average to over 5,000. So, I mean, it happens, right?
Caps.
Gonna pump those numbers up somehow.
Exactly.
I'm fine with Montreal say hosting the game because I think teams from the CPL deserve that chance to go to an MLS stadium, use MLS facilities.
Yeah.
Of course, it's nice, but I mean,
like when Vaughan went to Montreal.
Yeah, but it's just like the FA Cup. You want to draw the bigger team to your stadium, in all honesty.
I mean, the FA Cup, you want to draw them away because they do revenue sharing.
Well, that too, but
it means you don't have to pay for their flights.
In the FA Cup.
No, but you want the bigger team in your stadium, regardless. I feel like first of all, you get that home field advantage. But
fans that want the day out, you want to go to Old Trafford, you want to go to Anfield, you want to go to the Emirates, you want that new fun experience of going to one of these.
Like here, because it's such a big country, like it's not because it's such a big country, right? Like the away day thing is not the same.
Yeah, no, I mean we'll never get that away atmosphere here. It's just impossible.
Except for like the Ontario teams, and there will be more Ontario teams. That's the only thing that comes close.
That will hopefully over time we'll get a little bit closer, but even then, it's definitely we'll never get that European atmosphere, unfortunately, for away. I mean, I think if we were to see it, we would have saw it in the MLS, and they still don't get that, right? So
I'm like still very positive. I think.
What was that, Paul?
So I feel like they do a decent job with the MLS support sections, the ones that put the effort in. Like,
no, I'm not saying they do bad. I'm just saying to that. If you want to compare us to Europe, we'll never get to that atmosphere. Is what I'm saying. We may get somewhat close, but we're not going to get to that level.
I think the difference is like in Europe, there's away fans every week, whereas in like MLS and CPL, it's more of a let the supporters groups plan around one game where they invade another team's stadium.
Yeah, exactly.
Except like for local derbies.
Last year, or like you're 100% right there. Like again, like you look at the Ottawa home opener, there was a good amount of Halifax fans that showed up, but we're not going to get that the next time Halifax is in Ottawa because that was the home opener, right? So it's how it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, right now it's just like it's a case of like even the Ontario teams are all, with the exception of Forge and York, Ottawa was like a 3 or 4 hour drive away from those other two teams.
Exactly.
I'm still convinced one day the CPL can average like 9,000 fans a game.
Oh, 100%. I'm not going to shut that down. I 100% agree with you. I think over the next couple of years we could see 9,000 as an average. I think further on from that we could see even a higher average. It's just it all depends on the league growth. It depends on how the league growth as in skill as well. It's going to depend on clubs. Like if we target the right cities, like if we could get a bunch of Halifax type supporters, and it's going to obviously do a lot better than Edmonton did, or even York's doing currently, right?
And like, will communities get behind a team enough to have a stadium built?
I think so. I don't think it's too far fetched. I think it's just all about location. And I think we should be looking at cities like Halifax that proved that they can do it.
That said, it's still such a fledgling league. It's
so young.
We have to work on it right now. Yeah. We have to get more occasions like this, fairy side derbies.
Exactly. No, you're not wrong. And it's just going to take the time. I think people are too eager to be like, oh, we want this now. But but to get there, you have to do this first. It's a kind of soccer. It's relatively young compared to everyone else, even though the CPL is only 5 years young. you still have the 3 MLS teams, but even them, like they're not even 20 years old. They're not 15 years old. You know, it takes time.
You're saying location. I was so driving back from this trip. So I had to drive back from Vancouver back out east, and I was keeping this in mind. Where's Langley? Because that's where Vancouver FC plays. So driving from Vancouver to Langley, and by the time I get to Langley, I'm like, God damn it, I'm fucking ages away from where I started. it's such a drive out, man. It's like, I know they say it's in Metro Vancouver, but like with a small M, it's like barely there. It's full blown Fraser Valley.
Metro at that point.
The geography doesn't look the same. The mountains aren't as big. It is mental that they're called Vancouver FC, seeing it firsthand.
Tell you what, Pacific are getting close.
I just almost closed the whole stream. Jesus, I won't stop pushing buttons.
Pacific, I would say, like out with Vancouver hitting the bar, so Pacific have had a better start here. Definitely came close there.
Eat those words, Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Just don't want an MLS or MLS final.
Okay, ball goes through there. He's going to go by himself. He passes it out to the right. Oh, what a goal that was. Really fast counter attack.
It's a very fast, good team goal. We'll see what
there. He's one of Vancouver's best players this year for sure. Good pickup from them last year. Yeah, that's what can happen when you play in the MLS team.
Pacific having a good chance. Dada Luke slips on the turf there. That's a big moment, I think.
Yeah,
stellar
I guess
finish.
Like you gotta take your chances when you're on top and stuff, because that can happen.
Yeah, that's well, we'll see how much character is in this Pacific FC side.
I feel like there's more than one goal in this for sure. It's far too early to say, oh well, Vancouver scored, that's it, game over. I think Vancouver got a bit more like, the slip is just so unfortunate. Like Dada Luke is such a fast player as well. Like he would have been really handy there to like cut that out. Like I don't think he would have had the time there to get the ball to Gressel if Dada Luke didn't slip.
Yeah.
Where is the game from Brazil? I have no idea what Brazil's Canadian rights are, dude. I'm sorry. Do they have Fubu? They have Fubu TV. There you go. Or One Soccer. I'm not sure. Sorry, there, Igor.
I think I might find all the fun after-hour websites that we can't tell you about, Igor.
Yeah, it's a real shame. But if any of them want to sponsor us, then we can shoot Andre an email.
That would be very bold of us to get sponsored by like a pirate footballing website.
It would be funny though. We'd be sent.
Brought to you by blank. I'm not going to say one out loud.
Don't say anything now. Wait for them to pay us.
Yeah, Michael,
think about it.
One of those beep sound effects for someone swears if we mention one of those illegal streaming websites.
Wait, just say it and I'll scream beep over it. Like, beep.
Yeah, just pretend we did that.
Paul, in Scotland, do you guys have the beep test?
As in, is that the thing in PE where they make you run from one wall to another? And there's there's a beep test.
Okay.
My strategy with the beep test was always just make sure I wasn't the first person out. If
that was my rule.
That's fine. As soon as the first person's out, I would just like phone in.
Yep. That was my rule. And going through with the lung disease, it was hard, but I made sure I was never the first out.
I think a lot of people had that like in mind because like everybody would try really hard. Oh,
damn it! Oh, jeez.
Well, this isn't going the way we hoped.
Yep. See you guys.
Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Wrap it up.
The figure was like, yeah, this is a game. We play games.
You have to think if you don't have a 19-year-old in goal, maybe it's only 1-0. Like I'm not saying it's not to the fault of Gazdov at all, but if Irving was in, maybe there's just some sort of thing.
Maybe, but this is definitely.
Pacific come back in the first Ferryside derby? Oh, shoot.
Maybe.
I don't think they came back by 2, though, did they?
It would have been no more than 1-0 if they did. Like I said, they were 4-1 at one point.
Yeah. I mean, the game's not over. It's not over, but it's definitely not looking good. Like, you gotta get a little more.
This is what I was saying. Like, I thought what's happened. Like, I thought this would be Vancouver coming here out for blood to prove that was a fluke.
Yeah, and you're not wrong there. They want to say, hey, like last year, forget about that, you know?
Ali Ahmed went down hard on that Toussaint tackle.
Yeah, he did.
By the way, York United legend Cedric Toussaint.
It's bad luck for Pacific as well. Like, I feel like Vancouver have been the best like Canadian team in the MLS so far up to this point.
They have been, and it's not a high scale, but they have been, yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're actually the only one of the.
I mean, it'd be the Sounders.
Sorry?
I think they're 7th or 6th in the West.
I thought they were 8th, but
like that. Like real playoffs.
Yeah, not 8, 9 play-in NBA play-in tournament.
They are currently in 7th place, yeah.
I mean, they beat the Sound. Oh no! Oh, the paramedic cart just came in. That's really bad.
Put into perspective, though, if Vancouver say they lose one game and all the right teams win, they do drop to like 11th.
Or they could win a game and all the right teams lose and they go up to like 4th.
That is true. That is true.
Yep. It's like, I mean, it's kind of like what's happening in CPL.
It'll be 5th. They cannot jump 4th in one game, but I get what you mean.
Yeah. The point is, like, you know, if my auntie had balls, she'd be my uncle.
Again, you know, it's not exactly early into the MLS season, but it's not exactly late. Like, they're not at the halfway mark yet. They're close to it, but they're not.
I feel like we're at a point where, like, I want to like stick a fork in Toronto's season, for example. Like, they're just too much. They're too much of a shit show.
Exactly. No, you're not wrong. It's kind of like that. Like, you can start ruling teams out, but it's too early to rule some teams out.
I mean, it's early enough to rule out, like, you know, Sporting Kansas City. You can rule, like, they're not going to do anything.
Yeah, and even LA Galaxy, I guess you could throw in there.
Yeah.
Look at the East.
Some would argue TFC too.
It's funny because you can rule out Toronto, who hasn't been good, but they're only 2 points back from Montreal, where Montreal is considered they're not out of it yet. So
but Montreal's not even in the playoff spots. So
yeah, but one win, Montreal is in a playoff spot, and they're only 2 points ahead of Toronto. That's my point.
Like, Montreal was a complete disaster, and the fact that that's ahead of Toronto is more damning on Toronto than it is to say that Montreal start at this point. Like, it's. I remember on the podcast I had to do like the astonishing rant, the astonishing Montreal rant. Like, I've been demanding Lazard was getting fired every week, pretty much at one point.
Yeah,
and they're above Toronto.
I think, though, like, I don't really think of it as damning. I think of it more as just a joke. It's just funny. TFC is just funny.
I feel like if they haven't fired Bob Bradley by now, they're just not going to fire him. So, like, yeah, let's just enjoy the ride. Let's just see how bad it can get.
But I think maybe, like, what Michael's pointing out, they are sort of waiting to see if they can get that moment that gets them further up the table because it's so tight. It's like at the weekend, Halifax had not lost a game. They hadn't won a game, but they hadn't lost a game. York has lost 4 games and now are higher than them in the table just because they beat them. So just waiting for that moment.
When it goes to York, I was very impressed with their performance in Halifax. It was a great performance. I also, as much as I bashed York on the podcast, I actually did have them winning that game. So with that being said, I'm also like, okay, you cannot judge a team off one game. You have to kind of put a couple together. So we'll see how York respond after this one. But that was a very positive looking from York coming out of Halifax for sure.
Yeah. There was
one. You look at Ottawa fans. Ottawa fans are done with Ottawa right now. We're not fucking happy. We're not amused. I mean, after the Ottawa game this past week, I said to my brother, I'm so close to giving up on the season already because it's not that we're losing. Okay, hold up. Fucking relax. I have a fucking point here. Jesus.
Okay.
It's not like the point is it's hard to give a shit when it's clear on the field the players don't give a fuck. And that's my point. I don't care about losing. But show that you give a shit. Show that you
overreacting for 500, Alex.
Huh?
I will take what is overreacting for 500, please, Alex.
So I'm overreacting, but you're not watching the games and carrying. I'm not the only one to say this. Ottawa fans right now, when you have the, you're supposed to be one of the best teams in the league, playing like complete garbage. And it's not just playing like shit; it's showing that you don't fucking care, and that's what Ottawa fans are seeing right now. Obviously, I'm not giving up on them at the moment, but right now it's very stressful. And I said it's to the point. If they're not going to care, why the fuck should I care?
Football fans are fickle. They'll win the next 2 games, and everyone will be thinking it's fine.
Well,
there's no
by the way, quick
we have to play
update on
Forge next, so
quick update on what's happening. Ali Ahmed is still down. There's silence in the crowd. He hasn't been lifted on the stretcher yet, and all the players are just in shock.
This is actually like really bad to see. Like I've been talking in the chats with you guys. It's like how much I've been really high on Ali Ahmed. Like he's been really good for Vancouver this season.
Great.
I think he's been on like he looked like he can be the next guy to break into the CMNT, and like God knows where we go from here. We just gotta wait till tomorrow, I guess, or like whenever the injury report comes out.
Yeah, you wait till tomorrow. See what happens. But it can't be good.
Like it's just been this.
No, when you're down for this long, it's never good.
Well, I mean, they haven't even got him up on the stretcher yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's unfortunate to see no matter what the game is.
And the Whitecaps players look seriously hurt.
Yeah, there's concern for sure right now.
It looks like
That's bad.
It's hard to see. Is he bandaging up his legs, or they're just like securing him to the?
I think they're securing.
Yeah, they're securing him. He is moving his hand though, so that's good.
What are the rules for this? Because Ali Ahmed's a Canadian player, right? So does he still count toward the 3, or do you need to bring in another Canadian player?
I think.
I guess we'll find out in a minute.
I think what's important is the starting. I don't know if you need 3 on at all times. I think you just have to have them starting.
Okay.
I could be wrong though.
Because I was just thinking, sorry, I just knocked the mic. I was just thinking that could really mess up Sartini's management of the game.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, not only is Ali Ahmed injured, but Ali Ahmed just so happened to be Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's. Oh, jeez.
Another look at it now.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first goal, I think. This is Tybert.
Yeah.
Pretty good run from him. But he doesn't really start all that often for them now, despite being the captain.
It's a stunning finish.
Oh, yeah, it's a great finish from Gressel. I don't think there was much the keeper could have done with that there. No. Really good shot the outside of the foot. Inside of the foot.
Maybe if the only thing you could say is if Gazdov came out of his net a bit more.
Not many goalies are stopping that one.
Then throw bad header, volleyed home on the ground.
That was just poor coverage in the box.
Yeah, Sean Young.
I think it's a well-worked piece.
Sorry, what, Paul?
I feel like it's a well-worked set piece. Like it's he's clearly aimed for that to get that header on and get it back towards them there.
No, but anytime you have a guy loose in the box, you want coverage on him, right?
I think Pacific just got on like Sean Young. He just doesn't see him. Tries headering it away.
Yeah, I mean,
it happens.
Obviously, it was a misplaced ball, but at the same time, anyone in the box loose, you don't want them that much time to take the shot. So obviously, not a well covered in the box, but
you have to wonder where Pacific's head is at right now. Like I said, Derby, big crowd in front of them. You've seen how much they were on like their foot on the gas to start this game, even like leading up to that first goal, and like you can see 2 goals. Like I'm not surprised in a way they can see their second goal so quickly after that. Just like the emotions like flying a bit there with the high intensity game.
I don't think it's a nerves thing. I think it's just they're riding so high, then they're brought down so quickly.
Exactly, that's what I mean. It's like just too much of like an emotional crash at once.
Yeah, and then there's like the emotional. Well, I don't know if it's a crash or if it's just like gets you like nervous. But then Ali Ahmed going down, he's still down. They still haven't got him onto the cart. Oh, so yeah, that's gonna play tricks with your head too.
Yeah, you wonder where the game goes from here.
I mean, I guess, not to say it's a positive because I don't mean this at all like that, but this could settle the game down a bit and allow Pacific to kind of get their feet again.
I think it definitely will, but I just don't know if both teams come out of this very shook.
I mean, they definitely could. We don't know the extreme of it. We can't see them. Obviously, the players are blocking it off as they should.
This is not good.
Holy shit, yeah.
Anytime they bring out like tarps like that, it's either something looks very gruesome or
they don't want to see
shit. Honest,
right?
I don't think I've ever seen tops brought onto the field for a player in this situation.
Not that I could think of.
Like with the Ericsson one, for example, like, I think what I remember more is the Danish players made like a human shield around them.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah, that's gruesome. It's not a. I think they're just trying to get into privacy at the moment. I don't think it's like it's not like they're putting it on him. They're just trying to block it off. I think it's just a privacy thing. Hopefully.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's okay.
We did see him moving his hand when they first came out, so I mean, that's a positive, and it might be. This could also just get the players back onto the field and away from him as well. Like again, privacy. Just get the players away from it to control the situation. Let them get in there, back in. But
well, we'll see what happens. But
yeah, we're looking at added on time here, like 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, for sure. We won't know for another. Like,
it's been a while.
We won't know until tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
I watched the Celtic game today, and they had 11 minutes of injury time at the end of the game.
Jesus, were you losing?
It was. They were losing actually.
It was 11 minutes going on, like about 100. It was players with some injuries, but it was mostly like VAR decisions. There was like a penalty VAR decision. There was a red card that got VAR'd. Like, I don't actually know where the 11 minutes came from, but maybe that's because like they were losing 4-2, and I'm just like, just end this game already. Just end this at 90.
Like they won the league. It doesn't matter at all. I guess Hibs have some like European spots to play for, but like it's not much.
Oh, for sure. It's just like a little. Well, you gotta think for the players that are fighting for a contract or a position for next year, and it's the fans as well. Like hypothetically, if anyone's traveled from like say Glasgow to Edinburgh for that game, like like it's hard to tell someone who's spent a whole load of money on like the middle of week that the game doesn't matter. But I agree and I get it. It's just it shouldn't be for the players to say the game doesn't matter into 4 games.
Yeah. Okay, looks like the players are getting just back in the shape of playing right now.
Stretching a little bit?
Yeah, stretching a bit. Oh, there's Andre.
And there's Andre. Andre,
wow. Monsieur McCray.
Don't you got the injury update there for us? Just in time to give us the Ali Ahmed injury update.
Yeah, I've been kind of keeping an eye on the injuries, but holy shit.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that I've never seen a tarp come out onto a football field before to give someone privacy.
Well, I mean, you had basically the heart attack there at the Euros.
We did.
We talked about that.
What they did there was they had the Danish players make like a human shield around them to like keep people.
And to be fair, that's kind of what they just did here. Pacific and Vancouver players were around the body.
I think.
But they weren't like in like a circle like that.
I
don't like seeing Vanny cry. Like I said, he's everybody's like drunken Italian uncle at a wedding. He's like the happy guy. I don't want to see him crying. That's not good for anybody.
No, but I think it was just because the players couldn't exactly get around him either with all the shit that was going on. So I think it's just the players don't have to be worried about blocking it off. I think that's all it is.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not like we know it's not like not to sound too intense, but like, it's not like a heart attack or anything he's had. It's just a really bad injury.
Well, we don't know.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have got hit. And maybe that caused something. I don't know
because
if that's possible, but
if you like watch it back, because Toussaint goes in, he like does a somersault. His head hits the ground at least twice.
So maybe there's a concussion scenario.
I think
like they finally have him up.
It must be a concussion scenario.
Could be, but
that is that is a pitch that puts like as a turf with a capital T, seeing it up close and personal. It is that full blown like you're going to get all that black bits of crap in your sock after playing in that type of turf.
Could be a neck and spine injury if the way he fell as well, which obviously you don't want to see.
Did they have a neck brace on him? I missed
Not that we saw. I mean, we can't really see.
They got him wrapped up really tightly as if they're going to have him secured.
So that makes me think it could be a spine injury. They don't want that body moving at all.
At this point, they'll urge on the side of caution. Like if they think it could be a spine injury, they're going to treat it like a spine injury.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you don't want him moving. No accidents. You stay put, buddy. Doesn't mean it is, but like you said, if that's what they're thinking, you want to treat it like it, right?
Like, it'll literally be someone's job right now before they get him on the stretch to literally just to hold his head in place. Like someone's job is just there to hold his head in place, make sure that neck doesn't move.
100%, dude.
It looks like they're moving him now onto like one of those carts.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, they all look on the verge of tears. Like, it's one of these ones where it's like the game intensity is going to be gone after this, man, isn't it? Like,
it could, and that's what I was saying. This could settle the game down for Pacific, and
it's up to them to take advantage. Too.
Sorry,
could go against their favor as well.
It could, because they could give Vancouver something else to fight for, 100%.
Yeah.
But this is where Pacific do want to take into regards and kind of strike the opportunity, because Vancouver's going to be shaking up here. And as much as it sucks to say, it's still a game. And this is where you have to kind of take advantage of what just happened. And I hate to say it in that way, but your goal is to still win and take the opportunity where you can, right?
Yeah.
And again, I hate to say it as like this doesn't matter, because obviously it does. But as a coach,
what I want to know is, like, again, like, it's severe enough they still have the tarps around him.
Yeah.
Because usually when he's up on the stretcher wrapped up, those are gone.
Yes.
So,
but again, I think it's just privacy. Maybe he's just unconscious right now or can't even open his eyes type thing, right? Like, we don't really know.
Yeah, they're getting him out now, it looks like.
Yeah.
Straight to the hospital, I imagine.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, well, they're not bringing him to McDonald's.
Nah, but there is a climbing wall right next to that stadium. I can't imagine they're taking him over there now.
Was it suspended? I believe you asked why has the game stopped. There was an injury on the play. Ahmed got taken out, and it was pretty gruesome. The game's probably been done for about 20 minutes right now, about to kick off again.
Yeah, we should be good to go now. So Ahmed has came off, and the player coming on is Brown. Brown has came on for Whitecaps. He's going to play in relief him at left back. So on that right-hand side, Pacific have Dada Luke and Josh Hurd, and Sean Young's playing that right side in midfielder. So you're thinking maybe that's the position they can target now with Vancouver unfortunately losing their top left-sided defender on that side. So I wouldn't be surprised if they get a lot of ball down that flank.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right, Ian. It is just a game. Well, I don't know if we'll get much update about his situation during the game. Like, streaming this, we can't watch this with any volume. So if the commentators were to give us an update on his position, unfortunately, we wouldn't know at the time. We'd know later on. But if we can't get any information about it, we'll let you guys know.
Yeah, and okay, so the game is back on. Vancouver just had a very good corner there. Like I said, this is where Pacific do want to strike, though. Vancouver's going to be shaking up. Not saying the Pacific players won't be, but you're down by 2. You got to go for the throw at this point. Put men up and try to counter.
You got to think at this point that, like, that's the second time the Whitecaps have hit the woodwork. Like, you got to do something different at this point, Pacific. Like, whatever you're doing isn't quite working at the moment.
Yeah. Like, the game should be settled a bit. I don't think nothing's going crazy, but like I said, that's where Pacific need a strike. If I'm James Merriman, I'm telling the boys, just go for it. Get something before the half ends.
I did want to see Ongaro come on like sooner rather than later at this point as well. Like, I think they could be doing with like a big battering ram up there to give them something different up there.
I agree. Ongaro is Ongaro's a big in the box striker.
Yeah, Hurd is just about going to get that ball. He's being held up though. Plays the ball back into the field.
Before Ongaro
get a shot on him. Oh, good deflection there. Good defending from Vancouver.
Yeah. Before Ongaro left, he was one of the best strikers in the league. And we haven't seen that this season, as we were saying earlier on. But he's back in the league. I think he just needs to get his footing. And to get a goal against Vancouver could be massive. So, yeah, like you said, I agree. Bring him on sooner than later. For 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I said he played really well in that game. I watched him in against York. I was really happy for him just when he got that. When they got the 4th goal, I think it was either the 3rd or the 4th. Like, he definitely scored late on, and I was just like really happy for him. I was like, yes, he deserved that.
Yeah, I agree.
Nice to see his effort being rewarded there. That game was the first time that I am seeing someone score from a corner in real life.
Andre, I thought you screen froze for a second. I was like, oh, wow, you were intensely staring down that camera.
Resting lag face? Andre's got resting lag face, you saying?
Kind of. I'm going back to recheck that injury a couple times to see if there's any updates.
He is an injury guy.
Walk us through the injury. What happens to him on the play? No?
Sorry?
I said, walk us through the injury. What happened to him on the play?
Things twisted the way they shouldn't without being too graphic.
Things as in like his neck?
So he basically going up, there's a tackle, he hits the ground. However, the way he hits, things start rotating in his shoulders, so he might have broken his back. It could be something like that. Like apparently, by the way his shoulders and everything had twisted, no good.
Judging by how we saw it treated as well, I would assume it was a back injury.
Yeah, but it looks like the shoulder. It genuinely looks like the shoulder blades had maybe twisted in a way a little bit further, or sort of wrapped around. I think this alone might be the death of turf, because that might not have happened on grass.
It's hard to say, especially in a country especially somewhere like Canada, where it's hard to maintain the fields. I know Pacific's probably in an area where they probably could maintain it better than the rest of the country.
Now, keep in mind, the only reason why I think it might work here is because the CPL does really well not to have any games too early or too late.
But what would you do with the stadiums that play on football fields like Ottawa or Forge?
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. Might have to move.
In the CPL, we know that the Halifax one's grass, Calgary's grass. I can't remember the top of my head if the Langley one is grass or not. I want to say that one's turf though.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it might open up a conversation. Like the amount of injuries you get in the CPL, it feels like it's much higher rate than it is in other leagues. So I feel like at the very least, we should start having a conversation about a transition to grass pitches. Like I'm gonna say that, like, say if it had to be next year, that's not realistic. Like, but maybe like open a conversation for Pacific. No real reason why they can't have grass. I know it's easier to maintain. I know a rugby team plays there as well, so that might have something to do with it. Like that turf, the grass would get destroyed with the amount it rains down. Or rugby's getting played on it too. But like if something could be worked out, that would be ideal.
Yeah, for sure.
Fair enough. You can't use grass there, but like where you can, I'd like to see something being done in the near future to transition more to grass.
Yeah,
I think the biggest problem with it is when you go to owners and say we want grass, and then say real grass is more expensive, and then be like, well, these three teams don't have it. You're not going to force them. Why should I? And like I said, when you have teams like Ottawa, Forge, Valor playing football stadiums, it's harder to force them at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. It's an uphill battle. I think maybe scenarios where there's mixed, or there's some sort of incentive, or something. Even remember, injury is usually what forces these kind of rules. It's the same with hockey. It's not until injury that a lot of these rules kind of end up changing or getting enforced, and that could end up being the scenario where it just becomes, okay, you want to have this? Well, this is your out. This is your only option. And I mean, realistically, and this is no slight on any CPL team at all. Almost all of them, the big guys, Forge and Ottawa, could move to a stadium that's got 5,000 with a nice grass pitch and be just fine. Maybe move to bigger ones for finals because, final they packed out. But something with 5,000-6,000 where you pack it out every game would be fine as long as it's got grass. So
in theory, you're not wrong.
Why Forge couldn't play at McMaster Stadium, for example. Like I know why they play at Tim Hortons. They have the same owner, so like it's pretty
makes sense for the owner.
It's pretty same with Valor as well. They have the same owner, which is why they play at IG Field. What about this that like OSIG deal that kind of works there? But like they could probably play at like GG Stadium or Carlton's Ravens Stadium as well if they have grass pit. If they were to have grass pitches, so it can be done. It's just that the CFL stadiums, they're out of convenience, and like it's cheaper to play there because of the shared ownership. It's cheaper to do it there than to like have to rent out somewhere else.
The problem with Ottawa, and it's not just for Ottawa, but the rest of the league, you don't want to play in the universities, right? You want them to have their own established field. Then I guess at that point, you look at the owners. Do you want to build a 5,000-seat stadium, and where do you do it? When there's already a stadium that's willing to put you up, you don't want to go that extra mile.
Oh, there was an unlucky. There was a good effort there from Pacific. Really good run up the left-hand side. Forces the from Takayota there.
Yeah, Ian just said AstroTurf sucks. Sorry, Paul. Ian just said AstroTurf sucks. QPR in the 80s had it, and so many injury problems came to light. Soon after they had to have it replaced because of knee, back, thigh injuries were, I believe, the main problems. And Thomas just said, can't believe they actually restarted the match. Surely the player's mindset isn't in the right place.
Yeah, but
you're valid.
See, I get what you're saying there, Thomas. I'm not going to agree with it, though. Just simply, it's rare to see a game called off, and especially when there's a tight schedule for Canadian soccer. Like, you don't have a lot of loose weekends or loose weeks to throw in a game postponed. Unfortunately, they do have to play it through.
Fucking Christian Eriksen died on the pitch, and they were like, "Keep going."
Yeah, exactly. It's very rare you see games postponed due to injuries. I can't think of a soccer one that has happened when.
Only times postponement ever really happens is if there's danger on the field, right? So people are storming the field or storming the pitch, or like lightning. Other than that,
you want to suspend operations for an hour? Okay, so that I would be okay with. You won't push it off for an hour. I can see that happening.
Yes.
I would agree with that,
especially that early.
Yeah, you could have pushed it an hour to see if everyone's okay and good to go.
In the NFL last year, the whole Jamal Hamlin incident that got postponed because of player power. Like, it was the players and the coaches basically just turned around and said, we aren't playing this game, which is the reason why that didn't go through. Like, both teams basically refused to keep playing that.
Now, to be fair, we also don't know. We also don't know what just happened here.
The only way I can imagine this was going to get suspended if you had both sets of players and manager refuse to play. So without knowing what's going on for sure, the fact that hasn't happened, I feel like that implies that the teams are okay with this still being played.
Yeah, because even though what we saw did look pretty gruesome, this could have been all just a precaution to make sure he is okay. He might be okay. We might not know. It might be just a precaution of how they treat it.
They will treat this as if it's a worst case scenario until they know otherwise.
Exactly. So we'll all have to wait to see tomorrow, and then we'll see if this was the right call or not. But
17 minutes added on. If anything, I'm surprised it's 17 minutes.
Yeah, I thought they stopped for at least 20.
Yeah, I feel like it was going to be 20. I feel like it was going to be at least 20.
Mm-hmm. But like you said, it kind of did take the life out of this. But
so there's still plenty of time for Pacific to still get into this here. I said,
imagine not watching this game and then you see your highlight pop up. Pacific score in the first half at the 56th minute. What?
So you tell me that player scored in the 55th minute and was subbed off in the 55th? Okay, ball goes out right. This is what we were talking about here. Like, Pacific should be talking that side. Dada look gets the ball into Herd. He's getting held up there. Good defense from Whitecaps. They're really good at pinning those Pacific players when they get into those corners so they can't get those balls into the boxes or do anything more directly from there. I've noticed that a couple of times. Going on the run again. Doesn't quite get past his man. Gets a corner there. Corner towards the Pacific singing section. Good bunch of lads. They had the pyro and the big flags going when I was there for that game. Have I mentioned that I went to that Pacific York game yet? I don't think I've mentioned it yet.
Yeah, I may have been brought up once or twice, but no one's listening to that. Don't worry. You can keep calling about it.
I'll keep mentioning it then. Okay, we're looking to get the big... quite a few Pacific players in the box, particularly towards that back post there. Wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're aiming for, or maybe there's going to be a run towards the front. Aim for Amir Didic here, big giraffe of a man, and they do. Oh, save from Takaoka there. It looked like it was going in towards the top corner there. Good save from the Japanese goalkeeper. It's been a real difference to Vancouver so far this season. I think it maybe Daniels there who had the header.
Yeah, probably Vancouver's best pickup, honestly, is their keeper. He's been great coming into the MLS.
He's made a huge difference for them because goalkeeping was a complete liability for them last season.
Oh yeah, it was not great. Who was our keeper again? It was
Hassel played the majority of the games, but it was a bit of a revolving door for a while.
Yeah, I mean, even Giant Soppets got the call. Didn't play, but he got the call.
That was more of a. I think that was like they all got COVID or something. All the goalkeepers got COVID.
I think one had an injury, one got COVID. It was kind of like one of those type of things. Yeah.
Yeah, they played like a 17-year-old or something that game against Charlotte. I remember.
Yeah, he's their backup this year. That kid, he's their backup this year, I believe.
I'm just shocked that I've been here for like 20 minutes and that I haven't heard a specific player on Vancouver being mentioned yet.
Oh.
I can just see the holding back of saying it.
I never realized.
G. What's it? I'm singing for G. So.
I didn't hear what he said, and he's just trying to do the Madonna Vogue or something right now.
Oh, there we go.
I got the G in. There you go.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, anyone watching this, we do have a Ryan Gauld counter for the FC13 podcast on how many times he is going to say it in a season. We are now up to a decent amount.
If Ryan Gauld decides to play for Canada and this becomes reality, he might want to go into hiding because Paul will find him and make him know how he is his biggest fan.
I'm more just be really, really smug about how there's this like the Whitecaps.
Oh, he didn't even get his hand to it. That was cleared by the Vancouver defenseman. Oh no, was it the post? One angle looked like it was the Vancouver head. It was the post.
It was none of them.
It was the crossbar who saved the day.
But yeah, I will sleep on my man until he comes on. That's the plan.
You'll sleep on your what?
I will sleep on my man here until he comes on.
Oh, your man. Okay.
I worded that exactly how I wanted to word that.
Anyways, listeners, sorry, before we jump on, we like to play this fun game. If anyone in the comments wants to guess how many times Paul McNulty, by my count, I haven't seen this now because I just jumped on here. How many times Paul McNulty this season has said or mentioned Ryan Gauld? Put your numbers in the comments. The winner is going to get a shout out.
It does help if you listen to our podcast if you want to answer this.
We'll just assume he says at least once per podcast. We've had, 12 podcasts this season? So there's a base for you.
I think I've been on 10 of them.
Yeah, you've been on 10. But don't worry, Thomas has done your slack and kept it going for you.
Good ball from Gazdorf there. Quick play from Vancouver.
56.
Oh. Doesn't...
It's every sentence. When we're on the podcast, you'd be like, yeah, so I watched a Celtic game, and I was thinking, where was Ryan Gauld?
Schlott couldn't quite get the ball under his feet there. Very close to making it 3-0 there.
Is Ryan Gauld a Celtic fan?
Handball in Vancouver. Yeah, why do you think I've not been on the podcast lately? Allison Johnson's been injured. Ryan Gosling's
been injured. Paul specifically injured Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling could be injured. I don't know. Ryan Gould's had a couple of niggling injuries as of late. I need to recover.
Yes, I know, Thomas. He says it more than once per podcast. I was giving people a baseline.
All right. We'll get a couple more guesses in. Then we'll give you or your charity a shout out on the podcast. Whoever's closest.
We've got a one-man wall of Ryan Raposo there. One-man walls just look so funny. Like, what's the point?
It's a big man wall.
It's just, it's...
He's going for goal. Oh, just too much on it. The right idea. Takayota left a lot of that side of the goal open. Unfortunately, he just couldn't get the ball down there. So quite a bit further distance out as well. It's really bold of him to go for that. Just overhit it slightly. Good effort, though.
I mean, Pacific's got a little bit more of a push in them, which is what they need. So, you just hope it comes together at some points. You get one.
Yeah. Still got a lot of time to go in this half.
Yeah, we have still about 10 minutes, 11 minutes left.
So something like that. Shout out to Michael and Andre here who both live on the Eastern time zone doing this with me. I think it's nearly about 11 o'clock at night where they live. It's not the second half hasn't even started yet.
Just hitting 11 now. Thomas left us. Thomas had to bail out on us, I guess. He's not coming back.
Cast Thomas into the fire.
He did like an entire game by himself. I think we'll let him away with it.
This is true. Thanks again, Thomas, for doing our Forage vs. Montreal all by yourself.
Massive shout out to Thomas. Igloos Islands podcast. Check it out on FC13. Again, super great, super informative of everything CONCACAF. So if you're watching this, there's no reason you shouldn't go and check that podcast out because it's going to be everything to do with your opponents in the CONCACAF Champions League.
Yeah, you got
the semifinals coming up next month.
Nations League, not just around the corner as well. They're going to be very busy, those guys.
Good for them. It's good to stay busy.
So it's like, get on that now while you can.
Yeah, we got the semifinals coming up, and then we have Gold Cup shortly after that as well. And if Canada win, they go to the finals of the CONCACAF Championship as well.
You get the ball out to the right. That's a good ball there. Got some width out there with Dada. Look, take your time with the cross. Oh! Goes all the way across the 6-yard line there. Pacific there.
That almost looked like an own goal. That was holy shit.
Yeah, that was a port. Who was on the far side there?
I think it was Daniels once again, it looks like.
I was Salouf.
Salouf, yeah. Oh, it's, I don't know if it's expecting it there. Like the Whitecaps player sure done what looked like a better job of clearing it there. I don't really know why he went for his head. I'm not sure if he's expecting to have that time there, but
I don't know what that.
You're not doing at home. You gotta you'd like to think you work as a keeper there, but like just keep building. There's literally plenty of time left in this game. Pacific don't need to rush anything at the moment. Still, I think they've calmed down from those. A really unfortunate time with the goals. They both came like a 1-2 punch from each other. It's been fairly even outside of that.
Yeah. I mean, but I think Pacific has kind of been a little bit more on the attacking foot since the injury. But I mean, they're the ones who need the 2 goals now. So Vancouver can play a little bit more relaxed at this point.
I was going to say, you have to wonder as well how much of that is just down to the game situation and management as well. Like Pacific have to do that.
Yeah.
There's no choice in that. You have to go for it at this point.
I expect to see a very open Pacific in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not so much if they were just down by 1, but being down by 2 is not an easy task. We have another injury right now.
I know. I just groaned there, just like seeing another person in. Just kind of the last thing you want to see at this moment.
You can kind of tell who's used to these pitches based on the injuries now.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, Whitecaps, they play in a turf field as well. BC plays that turf.
That's true.
Yes, but the turf, I believe, is going to be a different level. Oh, okay. Yeah. I take it back. Replay just played. He's just.
I think he's okay.
He's being a tank.
Okay. You got a little tip of the cleat.
I'm not gonna lie. Right now, I poll between the two of you guys. Do you think it's cool to go down and feign an injury after one of your guys stretchered off with tarps around him?
I don't think all feign. A lot of injuries and things you get are just reactions at the time. You think of how often, I don't know, you stub your toe and it's an instant sharp pain at the moment. You don't. For all I know, I think it could just be you took a bang somewhere and there's that really sharp instant pain. You don't quite know what type of pain it is, if it's going to be long or not. So I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt and say it's just something sharp and quick like that.
Most of the time, I think Roger Stark.
He realizes.
Fuck. I think a lot of the time.
Yeah, for sure. I get what you mean. I want to give the benefit of the doubt, especially with it being a Vancouver player as well. It's a teammate of his.
I think a lot of the time when you're watching the soccer, injuries are. I give them the benefit of the doubt. I try to understand. People don't fully understand. You can say players dive. You can say all this, but a lot of people don't understand. He gets a little tap and he falls. And yeah, these guys are also running at full speed, about 200 pounds each, and one of them gets hit on the back heel. You're going down, it's going to fucking hurt. I'm sorry.
Studs up, or you kick out the legs, you're gonna blast them out 100%. Yeah.
People don't exactly, especially if you never played at somewhat of a higher competitive level, you're not going to understand what it's like to actually go down from one of these challenges.
I mean, I go down if I just get like, touched in the foot when I'm getting up from bed, let alone.
They're doing well getting bodies up in attack specific. They're doing like, it's not just like there's 1 or 2 players just out there hitting open. Like there's players up there. There's something to aim for.
They've had opportunities. They're doing well.
They just need to do a little bit better with those crosses into the box. Like the crosses, especially the high up ones, like they're not quite hitting so well. You'd have to wonder maybe they're going to try something different there. Maybe try like something more direct in the center of the field rather than going out to the wide parts.
If they get one, I kind of feel like they'll be energetic and could find a second, but they gotta get it. I want to say they gotta get it soon, but they don't.
Yeah, it's weird to say like they got to get it soon. We're almost at the hour mark, but we're going to have a second hour mark.
Yeah, exactly. Paul, have you prepared a game for us for halftime?
We've still got 3 minutes left. Oh, I didn't know I was to prefer a game at halftime, guy. I'm just back from holiday.
We don't need to have a game. I don't need to be embarrassed. We'll let the viewers kind of relax and enjoy themselves. This is a post Paul vacation stream. This is a post injury stream, and no need
Thomas is already embarrassed enough on the podcast. He's made me and Andre both look like fucking amateurs.
That hurt. That just hurt.
I know. Oh, I've heard about it. I got a message the other day saying you fucking suck at these. I'm like, fuck you.
It's like, yes, I know. You don't need to bring it up. I'm well aware I suck at these. I get it.
I'm sorry. I'm not good at guessing games, okay?
Free kick to Pacific there. I think this might be their last chance at the half, possibly. Been 45 minutes, 15, like is what
They still have like what, 3 minutes? 4 minutes?
It's hard to keep. I'm gonna level with you. It's hard to keep track when there's this much added on time. It's too much maths.
No, for sure. So would be 65. So they still have about 2 minutes left. It'll be going until the 62nd minute, roughly.
So yeah, like I think this is probably, if not their last chance, like the second last good chance.
And it's wasted.
I
know what you're trying there, but I hate them. Just get the ball in the box and see him bounce around. Like, just too much. Like, he went for goal.
He might be trying to go into the box. He just mishits it.
You don't think he's going for goal there?
The way he's curving, I feel like it's supposed to be like, yeah, that's supposed to be closer to where the players are. It's not bad. Like, I don't want to say it's a shot.
I just want to say it's too much power.
Yeah, I think he's just completely overcooked it.
I don't know. I feel like there's shots just because of the power. Like, if you're not trying to go on goal, you don't need that much power. I don't know. That's my.
I'm just trying to be. I'm trying to be kind.
Being.
Still in a relaxing moment.
So yeah, we got about 2 minutes left of the half, and maybe Pacific can get something else quickly cooking here. Hopefully. I don't know though. It might be...
you think at this point, if you want to try and get anything before halftime, you got to be fairly direct at this point.
Go for it. Put them up. Try and get something. Because even though the clock says you have half an hour, you still have another 45 minutes. So get something now.
I think pressure's won the ball.
Pressure's been good though.
Pacific's pressure's been very good. Like, you could feel a goal potentially coming at the moment.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe not when that happens, but.
No, that takes away a little bit.
Yeah, you see that Vancouver's got a pretty good press when they want to have a good press there, when they like turn it on. They're just like, they won the ball back upfield there twice in the matter of seconds fairly easily.
Yeah, I feel you.
We've seen this year that when they do press really well, it's really fun to watch. They just have problems sustaining it a lot of time for a full game.
Yeah.
But you'd imagine like they've not really had to do that so much in this game. So if they wanted to play that really high pressing game, we might see a bit more of that in the second half, especially if Pacific do score. Just kind of waiting for halftime now.
Yeah, so I expect the whistle to go at any moment at this point. I don't have the audio on. Maybe no, 2 Saints down now, so might have an extra couple seconds added here.
Yeah, it's kind of been like a tough half for Pacific. Always a tough half for Vancouver as well for other reasons. Yeah, I guess that's just what happens. You play against MLS teams like that can happen. Like those just like 5 tough minutes there. That level you're not used to playing against that can hurt you like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do have a quiz.
Oh, beauty! Look at you. Let's go.
Yeah.
Halftime quiz.
Yeah, you're welcome. You prompted me for this. I totally just didn't type this into Google. I have a 2018 World Cup quiz.
Okay.
That I found from a very well-respected newspaper's website. I'll name them when they pay us. Michael, you got onto the stream first, so do you want to go first or second?
You know what? I might as well go first. Lose faster, I'd say.
There's like 32 questions here, so I'm just going to go up to like 9.
Sounds good.
So you just best out of 9. So, Michael, Robbie Williams made waves by flipping the finger during the opening ceremony. What was the first song of his set? Was it Feel, Angels, Rock DJ, or Let Me Entertain You?
Oh, I gotta go with my favorite Robbie Williams song here, Angels.
You think Angels was the first song he played at the opening ceremony?
Has to be.
Let Me Entertain You.
I demand a recount.
Angels is like a solid close the gig song. That's what you end on. Let Me Entertain You. Like that is an absolute.
Sorry, I'm not from the UK. I know one Robbie Williams song.
that sounds like a you problem.
Sounds like a UK problem.
Andre, how many minutes did it take Russia to score the first goal in the opening match against Saudi Arabia? 3 minutes, 12 minutes, 44 minutes, or 89 minutes?
3. No.
12.
Yeah.
I
too late.
I knew it was early, but I couldn't remember how early it was.
Yeah.
I think they won like 4-0 or something, 4 or 5-0.
Yeah, it was something ridiculous.
Definitely wasn't doping.
Yeah.
Michael, what was the only goalless draw in the 2018 World Cup? Was it Egypt versus Uruguay, Denmark versus France, Peru versus Denmark, or Belgium versus England, the first one?
No, I think England lost that game.
No, but I mean, it's like the first time Belgium played England.
No, I know. Pretty sure England lost that game. I won't go with Denmark or France.
Michael takes a 1-0 lead.
Damn it.
Andre, Nike made Nigeria what was probably the most hyped up World Cup kit of all time. Like it sold a lot.
So true.
They actually only wore it once during the tournament as well, but this thing was like everywhere. It was the most hyped up kit of all time. You can try and remember what it looks like. It looks really nice.
One of the best kits ever made.
Good to know.
How many shirts did Nike say had been pre-ordered before it went on sale of the Nigeria home kit? 1 million, 3 million, 5 million, or 10 million?
5.
3 million.
Son of a bitch.
So I thought it was 1 million.
That's insane, though.
Yeah, those shirts just fucking flew.
4 questions in. Michael has a 1 point lead. 5 more questions to go. Michael, who had a penalty rescinded during the group stage after the penalty used VAR and decided that the player had just fallen over? Cristiano Ronaldo, Neymar, Harry Kane, or Lionel Messi. So one of these guys won a penalty, and this was the first World Cup with VAR, and the penalty got overturned after it was deemed they just fell over. Which one of these big shots was it?
I want to say Neymar because the guy dives like a fucking fish, but Harry Kane rings a bell. I'm going to go with Kane.
It was Neymar.
Fuck
sometimes the answer's just right in front of you.
Sometimes you just got to go with your gut.
Andre, which Belgian player celebrated a goal by smashing the ball back into the net? only to see it rebound off the post and smash him in the face.
Oh, fuck. I
remember
remember
this like it was yesterday. Yannick Carrasco, Marwan Fellaini, Michy Batshuayi, or Dries Mertens?
Was it Batshuayi?
I don't even need to click it to tell you that that's correct. Yes, it was Batshuayi.
Okay.
I remember that. If you ask me, Michy Batshuayi, tell me about him. I'll be like, the guy who hit himself in the face at the World Cup.
That was a great
questions
moment.
1-1. 3 questions left. Michael. Japan became the first team to advance through a World Cup group due to their fair play record. How many yellow cards did they pick up in their 3 group games? Was it none, 2, 4, or 6?
0.
4. 0 red, 0 yellows. That'd be very nice.
That would be a record. That would be a record.
Hey, it's the first thing that happens. Maybe you never know. You never know.
True.
Andre, which country won their first World Cup game in 40 years in 2018? So the last time they won a World Cup game was 1978. Which team was it? Peru, Panama, Egypt, or Iran?
Panama, I believe.
It was Peru. The last team that Peru beat at the World Cup before 2018 was Scotland, because of course it was.
Panama lost all 3, did they not?
Yeah.
Oh.
Son of a bitch.
Michael.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is a lot. So it's tied right now. So we're going to have obviously 1 question each for both of you to go forward. So what was Volgograd, one of the host cities at the World Cup, known as under the Soviet Union? Leningrad, Sverdlovsk, Königsberg, or Stalingrad?
Holy fuck. The first one.
Stalingrad.
It was Leningrad, but then it was changed to Stalingrad, and then it became.
Fuck do I know? I've never been to Russia, and I don't plan on going.
Like, fuck, man. That's the one question I
World War II. Look at a World War II.
The Battle of Stalingrad, because it was his name, but it was originally Leningrad.
It's only the most famous war. It's only the most famous battle of all time. It's fine.
Canadian history. What can I tell you?
Okay, Andre.
I can tell you all about Vimy Ridge if you want.
What team beat opponents from Asia, Europe, Africa, Central America, and South America? Was it Belgium, France, Argentina, or Brazil? This is for the win.
It's going to be France, but I feel like it's a trick question, so I'm going to say Belgium or Brazil.
That was Belgium.
Oh, I started with Belgium.
Yeah, you misspoke. The wrong misspoken.
Wrong B country.
Michael.
Yeah.
We got to have a winner here before the second half starts, guys.
Yeah, we got time.
Which team were knocked out in the last 16 for the 7th time in a row? Switzerland, Colombia, Mexico, or Japan?
Mexico.
Yep. They broke that curse in 2022 by not making the last 16. They decided to do a pro gamer move in 2022.
Yeah.
So you need to get this correct, Andre. Croatia had never made it to a World Cup final before 2018. Their best showing beforehand was a semi-final in 1998. Who defeated them in that semi-final in 1998?
You have talked
about
this.
Was it France, Turkey, South Korea, or Germany?
France.
We.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Michael.
Mm-hmm.
What is the common theme in England's last 3 knockout wins from the World Cup as of 2018? So forget about the Senegal game.
Okay.
So Ecuador in 2006, Colombia and Sweden in 2018. What did those 3 teams have in common?
Mm-hmm.
Was it England scored a free kick in all 3 games? Their opponents all wore a yellow shirt? England scored a penalty in all 3 games? Or all 3 games went to extra time?
England scoring a pen. Free kick, sorry, free kick. Okay, if you want to give me pen, buy my free kick.
All three teams were wearing a yellow kit.
Croatia was wearing a yellow kit.
No, Colombia.
Colombia.
Ecuador, Colombia, and Sweden.
Okay.
They were all wearing yellow. So Andre, here we go. I don't understand this question, so I'm going to move on to another one. Okay, here's a good one. So Harry Kane won the Golden Boot in 2018 with 6 goals. What percentage of them were scored from the penalty spot? Was it 20% of those goals, 33% of those goals, 50% of those goals, or 66% of those goals? This is for the win.
33.
Yeah,
50.
he scored a lot of pens.
We go again.
I think he scored 2 pens against Panama alone.
Michael.
Yeah.
Which of these teams did not win a penalty shootout? Russia, England, Belgium, or Croatia?
Say them again.
Russia, England, Belgium, or Croatia?
Croatia.
Nope, it was Belgium. Belgium didn't play any penalty shootouts, but Croatia, they actually won 2, I think. They won 2 penalty shootouts in a row against Denmark and Russia.
I knew England and Russia did. I was between Croatia and Belgium, and here we are.
Andre, kind of similar to a question you had earlier on regarding like teams from multiple regions. Your question to win. Who bet 4 teams from the Southern Hemisphere? Belgium, France, Croatia, or Switzerland?
I'd say Switzerland.
It was France. Australia, Peru, Argentina, and Uruguay.
Andre, I fell for that trap too. I'm like, why the fuck would they say them? Was it them?
Fuck.
Okay, Michael. I'm gonna quick fire these so we can get on to the second half.
Yep.
Which team won a game by scoring in the 95th minute and lost their next match by conceding in the 92nd and 96th minute? Belgium, Argentina, Germany, or Brazil?
Argentina.
The answer was Germany. They scored a really late winner against Sweden, and in their final group stage game, they conceded 2 very late goals to South Korea to get knocked out in the group stage for the first time since the 1930s.
Okay.
So, Andre, for the win. Which England player missed his penalty in the shootout against Colombia in the round of 16? Was it Eric Dyer, Jordan Henderson, Kieran Trippier, or Marcus Rashford?
Was it Trippier?
Jordan Henderson.
I remember Jordan Henderson missing it. I think did Eric Dyer score the winning one?
Yeah.
That was a Dyer one to get wrong there.
I was so hurt when Henderson missed that. That sucked.
Michael, which 2 clubs provided players that scored the most goals at the World Cup? Man United and Man City, PSG and Spurs, Barcelona and Real Madrid, or Atletico Madrid and Chelsea?
PSG Spurs.
PSG and Spurs. The Harry Kane getting the Golden Boot one, I feel like that made
that's actually a fact I knew.
It wasn't until I said it out loud I was like, oh, hold on, like that's pretty obvious, doesn't it? But,
it's actually one I didn't know.
Andre, now I'm straight up running out of questions. I'm using questions that I've been avoiding using up to this point. So just so you know, this isn't a fix. You guys just couldn't win this earlier. So if you know this, great. If you don't, it's not on me. Who coached Senegal at the 2018 World Cup, having represented them as a player at the 2002 World Cup? Moussa Ndiaye, Aliou Cisse, Henri Kamala, or Kalidou Sissoko?
I think it was Kamala, was it not?
Was it Henri Kamala?
Yeah.
It was Aliou Cisse.
Yes, I knew that one. Let's go.
Michael, you have won the 2018 World Cup
Let's go.
quiz.
You won the. We have retroactively taken it away from France, Michael. You now have won the 2018 World Cup.
Right.
Congratulations.
Well,
France, remove your star.
Going to the All right, so the second half is about to kick off. I will drop out. I won't be in the background, so I'll be watching you guys, but I'm not going to be part of this one. You guys got this. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe.
I will be right back, Paul. So I'm sorry to hold you down the ship in 2 seconds. I've just got to grab something quick. So,
yeah, no problem.
Yeah. But I'll be back in like 5-6 minutes max.
All right. Thanks, boys.
Bye. In just a minute, whenever they kind of come.
Okay, so second half break to start. I can't imagine be too much substitutions, just in the fact that there was like such a long break. You imagine like the players are still ready to go here.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say is that I think I'd want to see Ongaro come on for Pacific, but they haven't brought him on already. I think they might just wait it out to that sort of like cliche 60 minute mark that a lot of coaches try to do.
No, I fully agree. I think when you have that momentum, you're not going to want to jump in. But also at the same time, too, when you had that long break with, you're not really hurting, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to get my stream back on. I had to close it down to do the quiz. Yep, and we're good to go again. We're at the 45th minute mark. We're back to the 45th minute mark. Yeah, if you've seen this game in the 62nd minute and wondering what was going on there, we had an unfortunate injury to Ali Ahmed, which at this point we can assume is a very serious injury. It looks like he's been hospitalized again. If there's been an update about it via the commentary, we're unable to let you know at this point because of the way streaming on YouTube works. We can't watch this with any sounds, otherwise we strike for copyright. So if anyone does know, please feel free to tell us in the comments, as we're unfortunately not in a position to know what's happened at the moment. But the show goes on. Vancouver have a 2-goal lead. Ali Ahmed actually scores in this game as well alongside Gressel, so Vancouver hold a 2-0 lead. The goals came relatively quick to each other. Pacific kind of had the better of the play. Either sides of that, however, Vancouver have hit the woodwork twice. So as much as Pacific have had more of the ball, Vancouver have been much more clinical and have looked much more dangerous when they have been up front. And that brings us to a second half where, as a neutral, you want to see Pacific score. I don't even think they need to score that early. Like if they make this game 2-1, say with 10 minutes to go, I think that sets us up for a grandstand finish. I think that'll be pretty good. So like as long as this game doesn't get like any more out of hand for them up until like say 75 minutes mark and they can go for a real go at it, I'll be okay. I think it's fine for Pacific. They don't have to panic here. Like they don't have to rescue this back too quickly.
No, I fully agree. I genuinely think that they've done really well so far, especially with how it actually is, like how well that they've done, that I think that if they could just somehow manage to keep this, they're in a really good position by any means. And again, you're right. If they don't get blown out like 5 or 6-0 by now, it comes to 80th minute. It's kind of a battle of power, but they've done this before. They've already beaten them once. And I think that's on the top of their minds. If they can keep this momentum up, I think they'll do well.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think, listen, I said before the game starts, before you got here, I think that might be a disadvantage, not like for Pacific mentally, but more like that extra motivation for Vancouver. I think there might be a sense of they want to exercise the wrongs, prove that was a fluke, like show that isn't going to happen again. So I actually figured if I thought Pacific would have had a really good chance if it was switched over, like if they were to play Montreal, I would have fancied Pacific to at home against Montreal a lot more than I did against Vancouver. But I still think they're in with a shot. That's a free kick given against Pacific there. Daniel seems to be a little bit aggrieved there. Well, foul on Blackman. I have to see that back. I'm gonna assume it was a foul. Backing into hands to his face.
Yeah, hands to the face, especially after that incident. Absolutely.
At the very least, be a bit more subtle about it if you could put hands on the face there.
Exactly. All right, Paul. 1 sec. I'll be right back. Hold the fort down.
Got it. I got this. Gonna make up for that lost time of being away on holiday.
He has many things to say.
Yeah, if anybody would like me to turn this into like an advert for like the Vancouver and Seattle Tourism Board, be my guest. Feel Free kick for Pacific there, getting the ball up slightly into their half, it looks like. Play the ball back, just keeping possession at this point. They've been Pacific are a good team with the ball. I feel they're very comfortable, which is like the mark of like a good football team. Like you see a lot of teams in CPL, like they're still finding their feet when it comes to like actually playing. Pacific are up there with Forge. I don't think it's an accident that those are the two teams at the top of the league at the moment. They do play the best football. Vancouver get the ball up top into that corner. Not much help there. Ball goes out to Russell Tybert, recycles the ball back, and it's back into the defense. Vancouver just holding on to a little bit of possession here. Oh, that is a cheap giveaway there by Blackman. Can Pacific capitalize? Oh, shot against the face of the goal there. Just unfortunately, there wasn't anybody there in the 6-yard box. The ball goes 6-yard box, whipped all the way across. No Pacific player there. Still got the ball. Ball goes back to Vancouver, though. They can clear their lines from here. Pacific need more of that. That would have, if that went in there, then you're thinking it's definitely game on. Like that'd be one of those goals where like everything changes. It just would have been like such a momentum switch for like Vancouver to get the ball away like that. But nonetheless, they go back out again. Dada Luke intercepts the ball. He gets past Raposo, but there's plenty of cover there. That's a fun battle there. Ryan Raposo versus Dada Luke. One of the most promising fullbacks in Canada versus one of the fastest fullbacks in the CPL. Holding onto the ball there, Pacific starting to get it moving again. Well, it's been a very fun game to watch. Like both teams have been wanting to move that ball up the field quickly. So Liv takes a run at the box. His final that final decision isn't quite the best there. Gets himself into shooting position. It looks like it went a fair bit wide. May have had help in the middle. I don't know, possibly. I can see Daniels was there. I'm not sure if he was able to get the ball there. He's marked fairly tight by about 3 or 4 Vancouver players. Takes a shot on. Yeah, it's not going to trouble Takaoka there. Going to take a look at the subs that Pacific can make for this game. So on the bench for Pacific, they have Pierre Milowov, Ongaro, Adajona, Reed, Stefan Yates. So there's players they can bring on to help make a difference. For the Vancouver side, they have obviously Javian Browns came on. They have Caicedo, Luis Martins, Ryan Gold, Simon Betcher, Pedro Vite. So they have some very dangerous players on the bench as well. Betcher, for those who don't follow the MLS, is kind of like broken out for Vancouver this year in terms of just being like a goal scorer. He seems to be like a case if he's on the pitch, there's a very high chance he's going to score. Like he got his first one against Minnesota United in a 1-1 away draw, and he's kind of been like some good form since then. Good compliment alongside Brian White. Different kind of striker from Brian White. Brian White's kind of like, he's a very hard-working striker. That's not to say Betcher isn't, but Betcher has been much more of the finisher out of the two so far. And I've coined Brian Betcher so far in the podcast as being the most unluckiest striker in Canada so far this season. Although maybe there's a couple of CPL strikers that could challenge him for that, likes of Ongaro and Di Rosario, two guys who, like, if you were to tell someone they would have one goal between them at this stage in the season, a lot of people would be very bewildered by that. I feel like both will get going eventually. Di Rosario, like, if York can get a penalty in the next game or something, say they give it to him and just get him up and going. I think at this point in the season, when you're going on these droughts, the important thing is just get that first goal, and I feel like things calm down from there. Like strikers are more aware of anybody when they're on a goal drought, and it gets harder and harder to break the longer you go without scoring. You start like becoming more desperate. Ball goes into the box for a corner, cleared very well initially from Pacific. And it looks like they may be on a breakaway if they can play this right. Looks like Vancouver have this covered. Ball's back out. They get it back up to the pitch. Pacific recycle to play again. No one's really got a hold of the ball quite there. Ball goes out for shy. Vancouver should be okay from this point in terms of like just getting the ball back into play and calming things down a little bit. 53 minutes on the clock. It is Pacific 0, Vancouver Whitecaps 2. The winner of this game will go on to play CF Montreal in the Canadian Championship final. I'm not quite sure on the date on that. We tried looking it up online, to be honest, and we've got a rough idea, but we don't know when it is exactly. What will happen to let you know? I was actually at the first leg for the 2019 Canadian Championship. It was between Montreal, they were known as Montreal Impact back then, and Toronto FC. And that was really fun to go to. Like the atmosphere there was incredible. I'll just let you know, Pacific are making a substitution. Toussaint is coming off, and it looks like that is Mane who's coming on. So, not the change I thought Pacific were going to make. I would have assumed Ongaro was going to come on, but maybe not. Maybe there's like a fitness injury. There's a fitness issue or something. They might not be able to get like this much time out of him. Perhaps like the aim is to get like say 20 minutes out of Ongaro in this game. Which, if that's the case, again, I think 20 minutes is plenty of time if they can keep this 2-0. I don't think Pacific need to. They don't need to rush getting the two. They don't need to rush getting the 2 goals here. If anything, I mean, this could be a bit silly to say, but like maybe you don't want to get the 2 goals too early. If you make this 2 each with too much time on the clock, you give Vancouver the chance to say bring on Vite, Gold, and Betcher. If you score the second goal, say fairly late on, the game's going to go to penalties, and you have those big players not on the pitch when it goes to penalties. It's an interesting dynamic that for the Canadian Championship. The fact that the ties go immediately to penalties. I'm not sure how I feel about that. You know, as you can probably tell, I'm not Canadian. I am used to football having extra time and then penalties. My assumption can be for that is the Canadian Championships a very condensed competition. You know, like it's not played over months, over a season like a cup competition in Europe. It's played over like weeks essentially. So there's so much fixture congestion that time that I think it might just be respite for the players. They don't have to play that extra half an hour. They only have to play the 90 minutes and then penalties. I mean, for a penalty, you just walk up to the thing. It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna be detrimental to that player's fitness levels. Looks like Pacific have won a corner. Josh Herd's one up there, the skipper for Pacific. Nice to see him being the skipper. Local boy, grew up in Victoria, and plays for Wales at international level, which is kind of funny to say with him being local to the area. But that's just a sedan. That's a sedantic at this point. Doesn't matter. Again, you like to think you're aiming for Didic every time when it comes to corners for Pacific. The man is the size of a giraffe. Ball into the box. Goes out to Pacific at the edge. Shot on target. Off target by quite a bit. Yeah, Takeona's had to work yet. They've not really made Takeota had to make a save yet in the second half Pacific. They've had some shots on goal, sure, but they've yet to really work the keeper. Apologies for the yawn. I wonder how long it'll be until Vancouver make a second substitution. I wonder if the injury to Ahmed has kind of changed up the plans a little bit in terms of when they want to make a substitution. Perhaps they're going to hold on later now than they actually were intending to in the first place. Ball goes out wide. Is he going to reach that? Yep. Vancouver have the ball just roughly about the centre of the field. Pacific win the ball up, and they don't get a fortunate bounce, and the ball goes back out for Vancouver shy because of good pressing from Daniels there. Might have hurt himself. It looks like. I don't think it's anything that he's not going to be able to just walk off. I think he should be okay. Back with Vancouver. Back with defenders pulling it out. It's on the right hand flank. That would be Brown there. Ball gets played over to Blackman, the left side of centre back. Raposo's making himself an option. Pacific prefers to pair more inside. And we're back onto the right hand side again. So patient build-up play for Vancouver. They're not trying to get up the field too quickly here. Bit of game management is what game management you call it. A 2-0 lead, away from home in a derby game. Half an hour to go. Just want to be careful though, because Pacific have looked a bit dangerous in terms of the press. They do. So they don't want to be too casual there. Balls with Manny Aparicio deep in his half, plays it back to Didic and takes the ball for a run and checks himself back to his defender. Crossfield ball. Herd can't quite reach it. Thank you, fellow Paul. That is also my name. Yes, you can't even beat a Scottish accent indeed, especially when you talk about Canadian soccer of all things. I'm like, I don't know, imagine if Gareth Wheeler had to talk about the Scottish Premiership for Sky Sports. That's what we got going on here. Yeah, thank you for that. Free kick for the Whitecaps there, roughly around the half set, roughly around the halfway circle. Aparicio with a foul. Again, recycling the play here. I think Pacific are going to have to be a bit more aggressive with the press the way this is going. Vancouver's getting quite a lot of the ball, and they're just happy to have it at this point. And we have, like I said, we have seen Pacific have been good at pressing in the right moments. Vancouver, they've given it away a couple of times. Back to Takaoka. He's had a lot more of the ball, especially at his feet so far. And just as I say that, like the ball from Takaoka goes out. It's a shy to Pacific. Get the game going again. These teams are good at playing football. They're not afraid of having the ball at their feet, especially deep in their own halves. Like just by the blocks, are happy for their centre halves and fullbacks to pass it around and wait for things to develop. Okay, good ball into the centre midfield. You got a good ball to the left. I can't quite find him there. Ball's back to Ryan Raposo. Yeah, that's a foul there, I imagine. I think that's just coming out of frustration there. Pacific hasn't had much of the ball as of late. Daniel just kind of clatters into Raposo there. I think that's just a case of they're showing a little something. It's good for Whitecaps. It's good for Pacific not to let Whitecaps have their whole way there. Pause again. Move to Ottawa from Glasgow. So I'm stuck with Atletico Ottawa. Yeah, stuck with them. Still rather name the Fury still. I was actually in Ottawa for the final back in October with Michael and Andre. It was the first time the three of us all met together at once. I've been to Ottawa before. It's a nice city. I enjoyed it. I don't know what team is your team there, Paul. I'm happy to admit I'm a Celtic fan, so I actually managed to go to a Celtic game in Ottawa. They played Livingston that day. I think it was, if it was not 4-0, it was 3-0, maybe 3-0, and Jack Marcus definitely missed a penalty. Maybe that's why I'm thinking of 4-0. I definitely remember Greg Taylor scored for sure, and I think it was 1-0 by the time I walked in, or just as I walked in. It was back when Celtic used to win games comfortably instead of just basically playing with the gas, playing in first gear with the league being wrapped up. But I really like Ottawa. It's a nice city. I was also in Victoria not that long ago as well, which is where Pacific like to base themselves from. I know they play in Langford. Langford's like a suburb city just outside. Up here he is. Ongaro is coming on, and so is Odijai. This is kind of what we're looking for here for Pacific. All right, Daniels is coming off. He's been a good shift. He's worked tirelessly up there, been a physical presence. He's not really had a chance at goal to fall for him, but he can't be too upset with his efforts. Ongaro's going to come on there. You can just see the height difference there. He's a really big guy, so you're hoping that, like, especially Pacific have got themselves in good positions of crossing the ball. They've got themselves really good to getting down to the byline and putting stuff across. So you think of Ongaro in there, they can use the height to the advantage. What I like about him as well, he's also really good with the ball at his feet. He's kind of like, I don't mean this as an insult, he's kind of like that Emil Heskey type striker, where like he's just really unselfish and getting other players involved. Now, I know Emil Heskey was like famous for not scoring goals, but the guy did get like over 100 Premier League goals, so he couldn't have been that bad. And Ongaro's shown himself to be really good at CPL. He's still very much up there in terms of like CPL all-time scorers. Once he gets going fully in a season, like you'd imagine, there's every chance he could be the all-time top scorer again. Ball hooked into the box is cleared by Vancouver initially, although the ball gets recycled back to Pacific on that left field. Not much happening there, but Pacific do have a free kick. It's a situation they're looking to capitalise on now that they have Ongaro in there. Ongaro and Didic, like there's a lot of height in that team. One thing I've not mentioned so far as well, and particularly at the start of the season and last season as well, like Vancouver are not exactly the best when it comes to set pieces. They concede a lot of goal from set pieces. So it's a shame that Pacific haven't been able to take advantage of that more so far in this game for their sake, because it's one of like the easiest ways to get at Vancouver, quite frankly. Here comes the second load of Vancouver changes. 2 players are coming on. So that's 3 substitutes in total for Vancouver up at this point. They'll have 2 more left, I believe. Players are coming off are Raposo and Shoft. Putting some good shifts there. It's always nice to see Raposo do well. Like Vancouver, Canada is pretty stacked when it comes to the fullback position, so it's a bit of an uphill battle for Raposo if he wants to become a member, regular for the Canada squad. But he's certainly going around the right way. Paul is a Celtic man too. Had a season ticket in 444 until COVID and moved to Ontario with his wife. His mother-in-law is originally from Victoria, BC, so she's got a spot for Pacific. Oh, nice, man. I think I had a season ticket in I'm struggling to remember the number. I want to say it was 114. The best way to describe it is the main stand where it says Celtic. My seat was like at the bottom of the I. I had a season ticket for about 10 years before I moved to Canada, about 5 years or so ago. I am currently working on getting my girlfriend more and more into it, but I think she's going to get a soft spot too, eventually. I'm obsessed with Jota. I'm also obsessed with Jota as well. The moment I seen him in that Bumblebee kit and the brazen head, sold for life. Sold for life. Man cannot do any wrong for the rest of his life at that point. Did that, and he scored a goal. Oh, Vancouver got the ball there. Just slightly overplayed there. No problem for Gazdov. So just to recap there, I got a bit sidetracked, but the substitutions for Vancouver are Luis Martins and Pedro Viti have come on. Ryan Raposo and Alessandro Schoft have came off. So bit of a change for Vancouver there. Looking perhaps to get this game sealed up. Yep, thank you. Big fan of Jota, as you can see, definitely. 65 minutes to go, so about 25 minutes left. Pacific are probably starting to think they got to be a bit more direct, perhaps. They got to get this for certainly looking to get a goal probably soon, or at least starting to mount the pressure to hopefully lead to a goal. Oh, it was really close from Vancouver. Has he got it? Yeah. Really good effort. Really good effort there with the through ball. Nearly comes through for Brian White up there, but Pacific did just enough to defend it properly and make sure it doesn't reach him. Get the ball going again. Oh, good play there. Had to move that one quickly there with the Whitecaps players around him. Ball goes up the left-hand side. Might have slightly too much pace. He does really well to get there. Unfortunately, there's not any Pacific players in the box. They probably weren't expecting that to get kept in play as well. Mistake from Whitecaps. Can he capitalise? Pacific get the ball in the box. Need to get a shot on here. Oh, very good save from Takaoka. That was almost it. Aparicio can't believe it there. That's probably Pacific's best chance of the game so far. They do very well. Again, they're doing very well the press when they want to. Ball set up perfectly for him. Takaoka. Good save for him. What a save he had to make. Aparicio probably could have got more power on it, could have get it a bit higher. It was a good height for the keeper, but it's still a save he has to make. And this is what we're talking about. They have to start peppering the goal a bit more. They have to get chances there. Bit of a Stramash in the box. Falls to Pacific player. Hooks it back towards the goal. And it's clear from Vancouver now. Still plenty of time. Still plenty of time for Pacific to score and get back into this one here. Make good use of Mongaro's height with the long ball up. He controls it down. Pacific now have the ball in the right-hand flank. Free kick again. Free kick in a very dangerous area there. It was a very good free kick for them to win. It was Adajai who got the free kick there. Luis Martins isn't too pleased about that one. Not long came on himself. The two substitutes involved there. Very good position for this. And again, you got Ongaro, you got Didic, you got a lot of height in there. You just need to get a really good ball in there. And this is a very good chance here for them. Balls up. Could have been a bit better. Good defending from Vancouver to get out initially. Pacific still have the ball though. They were able to recycle the play into the box, and it's cleared again by Vancouver. But it keeps coming though. Pacific are starting to come here in waves. They just need to find that right ball. Vancouver reverted more back into their formation. Balls up at the halfway line. Teams are come out a bit more, but Pacific still have it. Oh, almost a good break there. But Whitecaps retain possession up the right-hand side. Cleared again. What can Vancouver do with the ball here? Played out to the left-hand side. Good ball into the box, you think. Oh, slightly too much there for Gressel, I believe that would have been. And Pacific get the ball back. 20 minutes to go. You think you got it. They came really close there. They just got to keep that impetus up, and they should be okay. Dada looking a big run there. They need more of that from him. He's a very powerful runner. Like, having that at you is not good for anyone. You don't want that headache. And nothing much there to trouble Takaoka with. It's hard to think there's 20 minutes left in this game, honestly, with how long the injury time was. Feels like it's this second half is actually starting to fly in now. Feels like Takaoka is taking a little bit of his time with the goal kick there. Don't blame him. Like, you gotta. I'm not entirely opposed to game management. You complain about it when you're losing, but you love to see it when you're winning. It is just part of the game. And just like that, though, Vancouver get the ball right back to Pacific. Ball played up, aiming for Ongaro. You can imagine that's going to be the tactic a lot of the time at this point, as Pacific will get more and more desperate. The plan would be like aim for Ongaro. Ball goes to Dada. Look to take the throw in. Ball's back in play now. 50-50 ball there. Ball's played up into the field. Hard to see who's got the better of it yet. Second bounce, and Vancouver get it up. But Pacific recycle the play, get the ball back out to that left-hand side. They do have bodies in the box here if they want to get something in. If they want to get something in there, I think they're trying to work the space a bit more. And Whitecaps come back out with the ball. Oh, nearly there, nearly a really good through ball for Brian White. Twice there, Vancouver got unlucky with the break of the ball. They nearly had a perfect through ball. Twice there, one over the top, one on the ground. But they still retain possession. They still have a lead. 2-0, 72 minutes on the clock. They hit the ball up the field. Placement all the way back to the goalkeeper, who's passing out around his defence. This is not too surprising to see. Like, the name of the game at this point for Vancouver is possession, 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 possession. Pacific can't. It's the most obvious sounding thing in football, but Pacific can't score if they don't have the ball, So Whitecaps just managed to really poor pass out there. Herta is great to hold on to it, to grab it though. And then it's given back there. And it's given back away again. And they needed to do a bit better there instead of like passing it straight to the Vancouver player. But well, still plenty of time. If it will be really wishing they can have the time between the 14th and 17th minute back the way this game has gone so far. They've not looked that inferior to Vancouver at this point. A lot of people talk about wanting to see CPL teams beat MLS teams, which, because we've seen it before, and we want to see it. I think people interpret the CPL beating the MLS as the ultimate way of legitimizing the league. Like, if that was to happen, say, twice in the same season, there's no better indication for the CPL in terms of saying we belong here alongside the MLS teams. I do think though, it can't all be about that. It has to be a bit as well with the way they play against each other. So the fact that Pacific are playing well and going toe to toe with Vancouver, I think that's just as encouraging a sign as if, say, the sort of total backs against the walls job. Vancouver's hit the woodwork. Four times or something stupid like that offside goal. And Pacific score like the scrappiest goal ever to win 1-0. That doesn't help the CPL as much as I think playing good football and going toe to toe with them would. So this is good to see. Pacific, they do look very comfortable with the ball despite the opposition. Oh, pretty cynical foul there on Dada. Look, you imagine that's a yellow card there. I think it was Blackman took him out. He does not look happy about that. Full time 4-0. If Vancouver bring on their subs, Pacific having to get more and more open, you think, having to chase the game. You can imagine if, say, if they bring on like a Betcher or a Gold. It sounds crazy at this point being 2-0, but I can see it. I said, like, there's every chance that like Pacific can get caught out of like a late counter attack or something this time in 10 minutes. Looks like we are going to get on some more substitutes. It's going to be Becker and Diver. So we're not going to see Ryan Gold in this game, which we were talking about at the start of the stream that like I don't think Ryan Gold will come on unless this game is either a tie or Pacific are winning. With Vancouver having a relatively comfortable 2-0 lead, I don't think they need to risk him in this game, especially on this pitch. If you're nursing an injury and like, they're coming onto like an unfamiliar artificial pitch, because like not all artificial pitches are created equally. So I don't think it's necessary to bring Gold on at this stage, which is a shame. Everyone knows I'm his biggest fan, but maybe next time. We'll see plenty of them. The way this is, based on how this is going, we're going to get Vancouver in the final, so there's a good chance we're going to see Ryan Gold in the Canadian Championship final. Vancouver are going to be going for their second in a row. Montreal have won more Canadian Championship Voyager/Voyager Cups, however you prefer to call it, than anyone else, and be looking to add to their tally. They won it last in 2021 against Toronto at home. Vancouver also won their last Canadian Championship against Toronto. They have not made it this time. They got knocked out against Toronto in the quarterfinal, and then they threw a microphone on the pitch. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't know how Bob Bradley still has a job over there. Final roll of the dice here. We've got Pierre Lamont and Yates coming on for Pacific. Let's see who's coming off there. Looks like Josh Herd is coming off, the captain. Hard shift down the flank. He's done well there. Always looking to cause problems. Always looking to get a delivery in the box. And the other player coming off is going to be... Still waiting to see that here. Sean Young. So Sean Young is going off, the promising midfielder for Pacific. I imagine there's going to be some big things in his future going on, and Yeats has come on for him. Ball is won by Pacific in the middle of the park, right back out there to fullback. Middle of the pitch. Maybe could have took a shot on there if he got out quicker. Thought there may have been a free kick. We get like a high up angle when you're watching games at Starlight Stadium, so hard to tell for sure. You're just going off your general reaction and what you see on the field in front of you. Ball plays out right for Vancouver. They went a really good counter attack, played across the ball, and it's a goal. Took me a second to check there, wasn't quite sure. And looks like it might have been the substitute who scored for an instant impact there. Looked like a really tight angle there. Surprised that went in, to be honest. Like I wasn't quite. So I was reluctant to say that was a goal just based off the initial angle, but I believe that's Becker who scored. Gassed off. Like my initial reaction was I didn't think that was a goal just based off the angle. Take a look at that. Very similar to the first goal actually. Pacific had the ball up in Vancouver's box. You think if anyone's going to score, it's them, and Vancouver counter-attacked incredibly well. They do that here too. Oh yeah, Gastoff should have done a lot better now that I get a chance to see that. That's unfortunate. He's a very young keeper. He'll learn from that. So Perino, you said it could finish 4-0. You're on for 4-0 at this point. And for sure, I like to think it's game over at this point. We're not going to have another famous Pacific victory over Vancouver. If we would, it would have to be another 4-3 at this point, which probably isn't very likely. It's harsh. It's not a 3-0 game. I know that's a cliche thing to say, especially when the score literally is 3-0. But Pacific deserve a goal, I'd say, in this game. Just make the score look a little bit more respectable. 3-0 makes this look as if it was like a drubbing. I would say Vancouver have always looked comfortable in this game. Like Pacific have never really looked as if they've had chances for sure, but I don't think at any point there was any danger. I've got the impression watching this, if Vancouver wanted to, they could have switched it up another gear to put this thing out of sight, which may be what they've done there. Betcher is a very hungry guy when it comes to goals. He's came on. I'm not surprised, in a way that a goals came on not long after he's came on. That's just the type of striker he is. We're seeing it. That's just saying the difference between him and Brian Wright. Maybe Brian Wright perhaps would be looking to set a player up in that position or hold it up for the next man. Whereas Betcher is just a guy who wants to get the shot on target. He wants to score goals. Great option for Vancouver to have to do some diverse striking options up there. Ball still with the Whitecaps, holding on to it now. 10 minutes to go. I feel like 10 minutes are going to be a formality at this point. A couple good breaks of the ball. Can Pacific get a shot on goal here? And it's taken back as a foul. That's a shame. Bear with me, please, ladies and gentlemen. The stream I'm using is there we go. It took a little second there. I may be a little behind at this point, unfortunately, because of that. I'm at the 80th minute mark. So if Pacific have pulled off a miraculous recovery at this point, I apologize for not being able to see it. Eight 2 minutes left on the clock. It is still Pacific 0, Vancouver 3. Goals came on the 14th minute from Julian Gressel, 17th minute from Ali Ahmed, and then the 78th minute from Simon Betcher. It's hard to look past the story of this match being the injury to Ali Ahmed, unfortunately. I'm not going to lie to anybody who missed it. It's a really bad one. It was one of those, the game has stopped for a long time. You wonder if there was going to be a game afterwards. 17 minutes of stoppage time as a result of that. He landed very awkwardly from a tackle which sent him up in the air. And like I mentioned before, unfortunately, because of the way we watch these games, I'm unable to know what's happening at the time through commentary because I'm unable to access commentary. If any sound from the game was to be played while we have it streaming on YouTube, it would be marked for copyright.
And we've already been copyright stricken one time, and we didn't even have the sound.
Ah, there he is.
We didn't even have the sound, and we got that copyright strike.
I remember I was this was about 4 years ago or something. I was just we're driving somewhere, and the radio was on. I took a little video of where I was going on a bridge or something, and I like to put photos and videos on Facebook just so I can find them at a later date. And I got bloody copyrighted. Just like
really?
A 20-second video of me driving across a bridge.
So I understand the reason of the copyright strikes. Like if you're registered as a business or if you have ads on it, I just think if it's personal, you shouldn't be able to get copyright strikes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go and fight Warner Bros about it, but I'm not making money off it.
Well, and that's exactly it. It's a personal thing. It's a personal stream. You're not making any money off of it. So I don't understand where the issue is, but
just take the free advertisement, dog.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, guys, pull one back.
Yeah, it was a really unfortunate for goal there for the Whitecaps. It's one of these ones where Gazdov, he's been a good keeper for Pacific up to this point. And it's just every keeper has one of those. You just don't try telling the person that at the time, or try telling the fan that at the time when it happens, because that's effectively killed the game.
Yeah, fully agree.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised Betcher scored. Just like the way he's been for Vancouver this year, like it's almost typical that, like, of course, he would get a goal like that. The way he likes to play. So he's the anti Brian White. We're coming into the last 5 minutes or so of regular time. I'm not sure if the referee is going to apply any of the stoppage time from the first half onto the second half. My gut instinct is no, because I don't know if anybody wants 17 more minutes added on again. So imagine we're going to get a much more smaller number this time.
Lenient, yeah. But 17 minutes. Although again, it'd be nicer to see longer time frames in these particular scenarios, simply because, again, it is more important, even though it's 3-0. But it's hard to say you're going to get a lot of time, because the Montreal game wasn't even all that long.
Mm-hmm. It was just like the World Cup again. Like I get why they do it, but there's always a part of me that goes, God, when there's like about 7, 10 or 11 minutes. So I just, like, it feels like a drag. It feels a little bit like a drag to me personally.
Yes.
But maybe I'm just getting old. It's the kids who want it. They want this. They want the never-ending football.
Just, come on now. We're not that old. We're young and youthful.
It's like that famous Mitchell and Webb sketch where it's like, watch the football, it's going to move.
Oh, yeah.
The game's never end now. They're 110 minutes now. 110-minute football games. Watch the football. It's never going to end.
Football, never going to end.
By the time this game stops, the next game will be ready to be played. The Giants of Pacific versus the Titans of Vancouver, making them seem like regularly sized people.
That's a blessing of a skit.
Oh yeah, never gets old, that one. Michael's back as well. I have successfully held down the fort enough for these two to come back.
He has held the beacons down.
What a bad goal that third one was, Paul?
I know. Like, that really kind of sucked the life out of things, doesn't it? Super Reno here in the comments was saying 4-0. We were talking about the chance of Becker, if Becker does come on, and he's a bit of a goal machine for Vancouver. You imagine he'd be hungry for that sort of thing. And I feel like there was every chance this game's either going to finish 4-0 or 2-2. Pacific had to open up. Mm-hmm. It reminded me a lot actually of the first goal, and the Pacific were high up the pitch and Vancouver just caught them for deadly counter-attack.
Yeah. I liked what you said, that with him being such a young keeper, this is something he's going to learn from, and I agree with that as well. And especially under the pressure, Pacific's done a good job of keeping the ball away from the net for the most part, other than the 2 goals. They've really pressed up the field, so he hasn't been too pressured, and you've been dry, you've been a little bit off the game, you're not really involved much. So you get on that break, get that shot, and sometimes it's just that bounce you need.
Do you think the goal, that third goal, was more luck, or do you think that was maybe keeper kind of struggling a little bit?
I think it could be a case of he perhaps didn't expect the shot there as well. It's a very tight angle.
It is extremely tight. That was razor thin.
I think it's kind of both. You need luck to get those in, but also the keeper just ball with it, really.
At the end of the day, I'm trying to be kind to him, but like we said, at least every keeper is going to have at least one of those. Every keeper may have one of those every 2 seasons,
Of course, I mean, you're not going to make every save, and you're going to do some fuck ups. It happens.
But I feel bad when it's
a goal like that at some point.
I don't know, because this didn't seem as much of an uphill battle, ironically, as the Forge Montreal game did, despite where standings are and everything like that. It sucks to see them kind of once you go to 3-0 in this scenario, you're done. So it sucks to see them go down that way, kind of. And
I feel, and I hate saying it because it's such a cliche thing to say, but it's not a 3-0 game. The way Pacific have played, they've played a lot better than the scoreline dictates. And I was saying when you guys were away, I think it's a better indication of where CPL is in relation to MLS based off the performance levels rather than the results at this point.
Yeah,
I don't really think we get a fair indication of the. Like I said, Pacific could have played some peak Jose Mourinho style football here, got the world's dodgiest goal. And then we go away thinking the CPL is on the level of the MLS, when in reality it isn't. It would be a 1 in a million fluke. It's the performances at this point will direct that sort of thing. Like, so York played really well against Vancouver. Pacific played this, and Vancouver, it's just a case of like being more street smart and take their chances more. But like, if that can be maintained, then that gap is going to get quicker, going to get smaller quicker than just stealing the odd 1-0 win and thinking you're further ahead than you are.
I don't think we're far off as a CPL. I don't think they're far off. I agree with you in the total of like it's the essence of how you play, not exactly if you win or lose. And Pacific's been on the front foot quite a bit. I don't think they're that far off. I mean, just like any other game in any other league, even though you dominate a game as well, doesn't mean you're going to win. That's just the nature of sports.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that you can be dominant, and Pacific has proven that they could put up a good fight.
Yeah, I don't think they're far off from like. I mean, also they bet Vancouver before as well.
Yeah,
I mean that was kind of like a perfect storm, I guess. Like DeSantos was just like literally the game before he got signed. Vancouver they weren't at the best part yet. Like Vanny kind of like turned them around a little bit, but yeah, like I think we want to see a CPL team win one of these, and we go into every season going like, oh, this is the one where a CPL team's going to knock an MLS to the Canadian Championship. It's a drug at this point because like it's a bit of a drug and a running joke at this point, but like you do genuinely think it can happen. It's not we're saying it just to say it. We're not trying to do like we're not just doing some hot takes galore here. It's because it looks like it's on the verge of happening at some point.
Yeah,
like that's happened before, but in terms of like happening again.
Yeah, and I think when, especially because you do it once before, like Pacific has, like we said, that's going to wake up not just Vancouver, but the rest of the MLS teams. So it'll be like, okay, these teams aren't fucking around. These guys are at least can be up to our level.
Yeah.
You can't take it lightly. Like we've seen MLS field stronger squads now.
Yeah, well, and I think that's actually going to be like a counter, like it's going to be almost like a double-edged sword. If a CPL team knocks out an MLS team, I don't think ever going forwards MLS will ever even think about putting anything other than their A squad. If it happens, just no matter who it happens to, I think that will be like the shock, and they'll never even think about putting a B team or an A- team. Because
you listen to Hernan Lozada and Vania Sartini ahead of these ties. They both want to win it, and you can see that with the lineups they put out too. Like Lozada was talking about, he wants to win this. He knows what it means: trophy, Champions League. This has been Montreal's tournament. They've won this more than any other team. Like he wants to keep that going. And Sartini made that like his mantra last season. Like saying, like I want to win a trophy at Vancouver. Like they put a lot of eggs into the basket of the Canadian Championship last year. So I don't think it's an accident to see these teams actually are going to be in the final. So I guess as this game wraps up, we can quickly go about this. Like early thoughts: Montreal versus Vancouver in the final. I believe it's going to be at BC Place.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. I think based on the performance of how Montreal was able to rally, or I mean, wow, totally fucked that up. How Vancouver was able to rally, I'm going to put them a little bit ahead. I know Forge might have been a harder opponent, but I think the way that Vancouver was able to pull themselves around and get a third goal showcased, especially after that injury, that they have a mental fortitude. I think Vanny's doing a good job with that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna favor Montreal. I think they had a rough start to the season, but ever since they beat Vaughan, they've really pulled their season together. And maybe you just need that little bit of confidence, even though it's against a semi-pro team. It gives them confidence to kind of move forward in the MLS.
Thanks,
and they were able to beat Forge today as well.
Fuck. Thanks, Fawn. Thanks for giving them the confidence they needed.
It's true. Honestly,
I think it's gonna be fun because both these teams can be very chaotic at times. I don't think it's going to be like the MLS game where I think it was 5-0 Vancouver. It was at least 4. It was at least 4 or 5-0. I don't think we're going to get that again. I think the final is going to be too much at stake. And Montreal, like I said, they're a different animal since then, especially because the finals played relatively soon. It's not as if there's much time for when these teams form. It's like a complete dive between now and when the final is.
Yeah.
I've said in this. I've said on the stream earlier, I think I said on the pod not that long ago, that I do think Vancouver are the best team in Canada at the moment, and I'm going to keep my money where my mouth is at that point. I think it's going to be the Whitecaps, especially at home. We've seen them have a big crowd out for the final last year. They don't fill the BC place awesome when they do it. It's a very special atmosphere. So if we can get that again, I very much think it's going to be Vancouver's to lose, especially with Frank Goldbach playing, you imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be – I'm not going to say Montreal's going to walk over them. I think it will be tough, especially in BC place. But I do think that Montreal is potentially the better team. Again, I know they've had a rough start. Vancouver's currently in better form, but I think Montreal has potential of overpass them and proving that this season.
So what do we think the final scores then? Like let's predict final scores, I guess. See how close or how way off we are.
I will just throw a 3-1 Vancouver right now then for the sake of it. 3-1 Vancouver.
I'll go 2-1 Montreal, but knowing my luck, it's going to be a Pens. So both team wins.
I'm going to say one. I'd probably say 1-0. I think it's going to be scrappy. No. 1-1. Vancouver and Pens.
Okay.
A little bit of everything there. And that is indeed full-time. Vancouver Whitecaps have won 3-0 away to Pacific at Starlight Stadium in Langford, beautiful British Columbia. Much tighter game than the scoreline suggests, although ultimately this game will probably be overshadowed by a serious injury to Ali Ahmed. Please make sure, if you want updates on that, go check Twitter or wherever you get your football news.
He is according to Vancouver, he is conscious. We are waiting further updates. So that is the only update we have so far.
So that's a great thing to hear in itself. So just to reiterate that, Ali Ahmed is currently conscious. We don't know the state of the injury or how long he'll be out for at this point, although that's not the chief concern at this point, as you'd imagine. Goals came from Gressel, Ali Ahmed himself scored, and Simon Becker put the icing on the cake for about 10 minutes to go. Pacific were very much in this game. They didn't exactly have tons of shots on target or anything. They did create chances. On another day, maybe they could have got a goal. I don't think they could have got more than that just based on the play, but they did play well. They did a really good account of themselves to be happy with what they put in there. A good game to watch all around. I thought both teams were good with the ball. Their feet were both direct. There was a couple of stupid giveaways and passes, which meant that we got to see some fun moments of players just time they didn't think they'd have in front of goal.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for enduring this double header with us. It's went on longer than any of us thought. I'd like to give a last shout out to Thomas for doing pretty much the entire Forge and Montreal game by himself.
Massive. Not only that, but jumping in, making sure he was available for this one. And again, another shout out to Thomas and Simon for Igloo Islands, one of the podcasts that is going to be integral for whoever wins the Canadian Championships, as it focuses primarily on CONCACAF, the league, and the teams in and around that particular competition.
And make sure to keep an eye for Islands to Igloos as we get closer to the Nations League finals and the Gold Cup. Those are the guys you want to go to for that.
Absolutely.
To the experts when it comes to those competitions.
Yep. Pretty much. That's basically it. Boys, anything else? Do we?
That's good. If I can let these good people here who's watching this still go to bed.
Yep. Absolutely. So, I mean, big shout out to Paul too for jumping in, really, really kind of handling this particular game itself. So massive shout out. So glad to have you back. I'm really happy you had a good time on vacation. Can't wait to see lots of pictures from your Silly Goose University visit. And as well, Michael, for jumping in. I know it's late. You work early. So boys, thanks so much. Obviously, viewers, thanks so much for checking us out. Remember to check out the rest of our videos here that we have. We have new stuff coming up fairly soon, along with our Patreon at FC13 Podcast. Check out 13th Man Sports if you want to see some articles from Paul, from Thomas, Kevin, Ian, a lot of stuff is going to be coming out here fairly soon. And check out our podcast at FC13 Podcast. That's probably why you're here. And if it's not, amazing. Can't wait to see you over there on that podcast.
It is now.
Yep. It is now on Apple, Amazon, and Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. If you want us to send you it in the mail, just write us a letter and send us some stamps, and we'll print you out the whole podcast. And we'll
you want Michael to stand outside your window with a boombox playing it that way in the rain?
That's a Patreon exclusive. Sorry, that's a Patreon exclusive. So head on over to our Patreon for that. So thanks so much for joining us, guys. Boys, where do we find you online?
Paul McNulty96. Check out all my wee holiday Instagram photos.
And I'm going to call me Michael on Twitter.
And I've been the Andre McCrae. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. And quite literally this time, remember, listening and watching the FC13 podcast is a lot like watching football through a microwave.